What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is a halfway live chat.
Yeah.
Oh, halfway there.
Wow.
Different key. This is the Wheel of Time, Season 3, We're Halfway There live chat, where we're going to talk about a show that is finally good? Question mark?
Hey, I have to say, I'm very happy with that last episode. It is by far the best in all of the seasons so far.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because we're in this point where... There was a point in Season 2 where I was really happy with it.
Yeah, in the middle
right?
there, we were like, oh, we're going somewhere, and then it was a bit of a letdown.
And then I think the end of that season is just bad.
I think
it's actually like really bad.
I did watch it last night.
Yeah.
Rewatch it, and it is.
I think
not great. But before we get into things, we should just let you guys know that the first section of this chat, this live stream is going to be no book spoilers.
Yeah.
Show only stuff.
Yeah. No book spoilers in chat. Chat, we will have a point where we're going to start talking book spoilers.
Yeah.
So the book spoiler section, please keep chat non-book spoiler until then.
Yes.
Is everyone chill with that? Are we good? Hi, everyone. Also.
Hey, what's up?
We haven't done a live stream that wasn't
book club.
Book club in a while.
Yeah. Since like Deadpool and Wolverine, I think.
Yeah. Arzu is here.
Thank you,
Arzu is wielding the delete hammer. Probably not the ban hammer. We don't have to ban people that often in our chat, which I feel very grateful for. We have a good community.
Yeah, thank goodness for that.
Yeah. But, I think that we kind of left Wheel of Time Season 2 with a feeling of maybe we won't react to Season 3. Because the show is just kind of not consistently leading us in directions that we're not interested in. And that was then further spurned by the fact that Lord of the Rings The Rings of Power Season 2 felt a little bit like a slap in the face as a viewer. The Arondir getting stabbed in the chest and then being completely fine in the next episode. And if you're like, spoilers, I don't give a fuck.
I'm sorry been out for like a year.
I'm sorry if I spoiled that the show genuinely does not give a shit about its viewership at all.
Yeah, we were kind of feeling a little bit on Amazon Prime stuff in general.
But only Amazon Prime's fantasy division.
Yeah.
And so I think that there was definitely a feeling going into this that I was like, I don't think we're going to cover this. And then the marketing was generally really good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we liked the trailers. We liked what we saw, and it got me excited again.
I really liked the posters.
Yeah.
I thought that there was a lot of hype being built by what they were making, and I was like, you know what, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad that we did. Even though, like, I still think the first episode of this season really struggles with trying to pivot away from past decisions. I think that episodes 2 through 4 are consistently strong and gaining momentum. And it's the first time I felt like the show really had any momentum since, like, season 1, kind of like mid-season 1, when it did feel like the show was going somewhere. And you know, I say that knowing that both of those seasons are, in hindsight, bad to me because the finales are such letdowns.
Yeah.
But I think that the show feels different now in a way where I'm not as worried about that happening this time.
Yes.
We'll get into why maybe I'm being foolish about that, because I think the show could still fall apart at the end of season 3.
Yeah, anything can.
But right now, like, it is hard not to be excited about the direction the show's going at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I was absolutely fucking enthralled all through episode 4. I mean, the reaction is out, obviously you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
But it went by so quickly.
Yeah.
They covered so much, and in a way that I thought was accessible for the non-book readers. You know, Ruidan is one of those things where I was like, ooh, how the fuck do they do that? Like for TV and have it make sense without the inner dialogue of the characters and things like that. So I think that they really did a pretty good job of that. I know that we've had some comments on our stuff of people who are non-book readers who are like, I don't know if I fully understand what was going on, which is fair, but it is more of like general, this is kind of what happened, you realize that they are like flashbacks.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I don't think they did the best job explaining, but also, like, I think they did enough. You know what I mean? There's a few scenes that I wish that we'd gotten from the books, and obviously we're not talking book spoilers yet. And so I think that Ruidan was very successful in terms of creating the best episode of this show by far, but also creating an episode that was... that conveyed a very difficult piece of information very well.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do wish that same level of quality of writing was given to, like, the White Tower or other parts of the show that I think are just generally weaker. I definitely wish the quality of the writing had been there in earlier seasons when things were said that you're like, that doesn't work at all. For Matt's plotline in season 2, for instance.
Yeah.
But, you know, now that we are here... I do think that I think that they are starting to understand how to embrace the fantasy elements of the show and not run from them as much.
Yeah.
You know, like even like Matt, because last night we watched episodes 7 and 8 of the
season 2.
Yeah. So that we had the finale in our head, and I think that the way that the whole giving Matt getting clonked in the head, waking up in foam, and then drinking a tea that makes him hate himself or something, and then in the next episode having him blow the horn, and then have him become a completely different person from the horn because he gets all the memories, is such a muddy and weird experience for that character for literally just 2 hours of television.
Yeah.
And it's not motivated by his actions at all. I mean, blowing the horn obviously is, but it is just sort of a bunch of random shit happens to him.
Yeah.
None of it's explained, and then he gets magic powers from it that don't seem to come from those experiences in a way that is easy for the audience to understand.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that, you have the way in which Rand and Moraine experience the rings and the glass columns, and visually, not just by fucking expositing at us, but visually, and there is some smart exposition. I think having the wise ones be like, you are going to experience time in reverse was a really smart, because in the books it is, you figure that out.
Yeah, we made a joke about them like not giving Avienda the speech, but giving the other two the speech before they go to Ruidan. But they do, you know, they do say like, you were called a while ago, and then you fucked off to go look for the Karakan. So she might have gotten that speech as well.
Yeah, this is after Amis takes 3 full spears and breaks them over her knee in one fell swoop.
Bro, whatever her upper body routine
like,
is,
what?
I need to know.
Well, and
like,
is it book spoilers to say how something's slightly different in the books?
What is it?
That moment.
Technically, yeah.
Okay, then I'll say it later. The book version of that moment is so much better. Because it's not goofy. The problem with the show version of it is that it's goofy, and the book version is heartbreaking. And right. I just wish that they had just. I just wish they just kept it. It would have been 10 seconds longer. Yeah. But I just wish they'd kept it. Yeah, these episodes already don't have like a set length. Yeah. So there's no reason to me that they... Anyway. Yeah. So, interesting points in the chat. Some people are talking about... Embry says, I've seen a lot of people not get that the Tuatha also split off from the True Aiel. That is something the book does not do. Or that's something the show... That was the thing I said. Yeah. I wish that the whole Jen Aiel, Tuatha thing was given a little bit more time. Yeah. Because it is important. Yeah. I think that it's easy to understand that they're the Tuatha, but in the show version of this, it kind of seems like the Aiel became the Aiel and then continued to ferry the Tuatha around. And that isn't exactly what happens, right? Yeah. And I think the show could have definitely made that a bit clearer for the audience. Yeah. Yeah, we in the reaction, you talked about the language. Yeah. Which I feel like saying Jen Aiel is not a spoiler, really. It's just a word. The word Jen Aiel is in the show. Is it? Okay, yeah, I definitely missed that. Apparently, it is in... Jen Aiel is in the section when Latra is speaking in the Old Tongue. So they do use Jen Aiel as a old tongue word for it. Okay. I just wish that part of it had been included a little bit more.
Yeah.
Kiran Abavaram,
thank you so much for
thank
that
you for that super chat.
Let's
She's
go.
beautiful, and it's Indian rupees.
Nice.
No way.
Hell yeah.
From India? How you doing?
Welcome on in. We're talking about The Wheel of Time.
I was at the most incredible Indian restaurant in Mississauga 2 nights ago called Mishri. If you're in the GTA and you want some goddamn good Indian food with incredible cocktails, Mishri, pretty sweet. I think they still have my sunglasses, so I might be there again soon.
Yeah.
Holy shit, did I enjoy... I fucking love Indian food.
Blue, welcome back to the Nerds Radiant. It is not book club.
No, we've read these books, Blue.
Yeah.
We've read these books, but we're still no book spoilers.
No book spoilers for the moment.
Wad Fandom says Daniel Green has a really good explanation of the Aiel diverging. Yeah, but I don't think that YouTubers should have to explain key concepts to the show.
Yeah. Once we've hit that point, it's like.
Daniel Green explains things real good. I just wish the show had made that element of it a little bit more clear, because I do think it. One of the things I think is lost a little bit in the show version is how the Aiel lost who they were. And I think that part of that is that Latra, being the Aes Sedai, who is both at the beginning of the Aiel journey in the past and at the end of it, makes that a little bit confusing, because she just didn't tell them. Like, you basically have a character who, like, how did they forget who they were? And this was a problem that I had reading the books. If you're going to have characters who can live for hundreds of years...
She's like 1,000.
Yeah, and I know that Aventusor, like the Tree of Life, she lived under the Tree of Life and it kept her alive, right? But I don't really understand how they forgot who they were when they're living with someone who could just tell them and who knew them. And it's one of the weaknesses of Wheel of Time that goes back to the books.
Yeah.
That isn't just a show problem. It's a book problem too. Of that you have an apocalypse where the biggest thing lost in the apocalypse is knowledge, but a lot of people survived that apocalypse and lived for hundreds of years, including the Ogier.
Yeah.
Unfortunately left out of this episode mostly, but that element of it I don't think was the strongest.
Yeah, and like things being lost that like maybe shouldn't have been, like even though they have some crazy technology.
Yeah.
Like they have writing.
Kiran Babaram says, "Is it spicy? The food? Hell yeah, it is, and it's goddamn good."
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. Joe White says one thing that seems to have confused a lot of people is that Luce is not Rand's blood ancestor. I mean. Oh, no, he literally can't be, because Luce didn't have any kids. Well, well, actually, here's the thing. And this is a really interesting thing about the show, is that...
ancestry, reincarnation, different things.
Well, no, but we also don't know what the end of Luce's life was in the show. Because we were talking about this, watching the... I think it's the cold open of episode 8, where the cold open in season 2, where... they are chaining Ishamael at the Eye of the World, right?
Yeah.
That is such a departure from how the events play out in the books that the show is going to have to come up with a new version of what happened to Luce Theron. And at some point, the show will have to explain that because it's very important.
Yeah.
And I actually think the show, by changing what the events of the Eye of the World were so much... has put themselves in a really weird place where they have to now create an event that is so central to the show that is, in some people's estimation, one of the best. Like, I've seen the prologue of Eye of the World called the best prologue in fantasy.
For sure, yeah.
And I think that there's a massive... that they're going to have to come up with something that is essentially the same thing, but very different.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to explain that at some point.
Yes.
And... it's interesting to me that they haven't gotten into that at all.
Yeah. Maybe they're like, we're not 100% sure how we're going to deal with it yet, Like, they haven't touched on it because they're like, they're not actually positive on how they're going to introduce and explain it.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Light Blinded Fool says, my guess is that Iwat still has the rights to the prologue from Winter Dragon.
Huh. Yeah, maybe.
It's possible. Huh. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Craptacular says, the thing is, the Jedi Yield that stayed at Ruidan were all dead. The various clan chiefs were called there through the dream from elsewhere. Maybe not explained great in the show, I guess. No, and but that still doesn't explain the fact that like there are Aes Sedai who lived through all of this, right?
Yeah.
Unless Lotter was the only one, but the White Tower survived, but she was the only Aes Sedai. I just like there's things that are inconsistent in that just don't work for me.
Yeah.
But that is a book problem. I don't blame Rafe for not solving a problem that I think is gonna happen when you're like knowledge was lost. But the people who keep the knowledge are old. Yeah. And you're like, wait, that...
Yeah. This is something that we've talked about in book club extensively. Because we were like, this doesn't, like, 100% work for us. But...
Yeah. So should we start at the beginning of season 3 and kind of talk through season 3 so far? I don't really want to keep going over season 1 and 2. I'm not a huge fan. Well, there's a few things that we'll talk about if they come up. But I mostly want to talk about the 4 episodes and just kind of how they keep getting better and why they keep getting better.
Yeah, absolutely.
The opening, 11 minutes. I still don't like it. I think the weakest part of season 3 so far
is the opening.
is the fleeing of the Black Aj out of the White Tower.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean it's had such little impact on the world?
Yeah.
They made it so big, and it just kind of feels like people are chilling about it. And I
just wish that it had been kept, like a lid had been kept on it a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that had been part of the tension of it. Like, we can't let the people in the city know that this is going on. Like, that is a really interesting literary device of like how do you keep secrets from the general population, and how do you keep rumors from spreading?
Yeah.
I liked the idea of this like big flashy fight scene.
Yeah.
But it kind of ended up being, I think, 50-50 for me. Good moments, also weird moments. Weird amount of like blood that seemed unnecessary with some weird fight stuff. Good character moments, some fun ideas introduced, betrayals, that kind of thing. And so I feel very 50-50 on like that scene in particular.
Yeah, I think that my concern is that the end of this season is mostly going to be big fight scenes. Mm-hmm. And the worst part of the season so far has been the biggest fight scene. Right? Yeah. Like, for me, like, I think that the show is starting to do everything else really well. And even some of the fight scenes are getting better. They're still edited to shit. And, like, I wish I could sit down with Rafe and just ask why. Yeah. Because I've seen some behind-the-scenes footage, and they're not doing, like, hit, take, hit, take, hit, take. No! They're shooting through these fights.
Yeah, the editing is,
they're choosing to edit them to be bad.
Look worse. I know. It's so frustrating, because, like, these people are capable, and I love to see it.
And so I think that like the lack of fallout from the opening scene has made the White Tower feel like the worst written part of the show so far.
For sure.
And it's made the political machinations of the White Tower feel just less good than everything else. Yeah. But we have already talked that we've done that part in enough video, so I wanted to quickly touch on it, and then move on to the rest episode. But Matthew Howard Jr.
Thank you for that super chat. Do most TV series not have the story plotted out from beginning to end?
It depends on the kind of show.
Yeah.
Right? Most television series will have a show bible that has the like larger concepts plotted out through season 7. On traditional television. Yeah. Because back when you would do a network TV show, once you made the pilot, the contracts for network TV that a lot of actors would sign would be for 7 seasons. Mm-hmm. Because 7 seasons is just past the point where a show would be syndicated. And so a television series would want to lock in the actors for the amount of time it would take for them to get the show to a point where they could then sell it to, the TNTs and the networks that just run reruns. How you watch Bazinga, the Big Bang Theory, basically in perpetuity on some network, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of television shows would have 7-season contracts. And it's why a lot of shows that go past 7 seasons will have a finale at the end of season 7 that is like,
it feels like a series finale.
Yeah.
And then maybe they tack on something at the end if they're renewed that they can keep that door open.
Nowadays, that's really changed.
Yeah.
A lot of shows now only have a 2-year plan.
Yeah.
And so
because they don't want to pay people to do the work for past a certain point, because if it doesn't make it past that point, you've wasted time and money.
No, this isn't a pay issue. The show, because your writers' rooms aren't breaking the 7 seasons, so this isn't about who gets paid.
Aren't breaking?
Yeah, they're not breaking the seasons until they like.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Breaking seasons?
Oh, so so at the beginning of a season, when a writer's room is brought together to write the season of television, they call the process of sitting down and deciding what's going into each episode and what the story we're telling and what the themes are, what the tone is. Yeah. That's called breaking the story. That's called breaking the season. Okay. So that first process before they split off into their separate episodes and write the the outline of it, that's called breaking the story.
So it makes sense that they are not trying to get people to write for season 4, season 5, or season 6
but that's different from the show Bible's 7-year plan is not done by the whole team. That is something that the person who sold the pilot would put together as part of the pitch that typically would have been done at sweeps. Oh, of course they change.
Yeah, right?
Of course they change. Especially because, actor availability, those kind of things come up.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's why I'm like, well, they may not have decided how they want to handle that particular element of the lore, because they might have had an original plan, but they might be there might be more than one idea being floated around for sure. How to convey certain information.
But in the streaming era, that has been shortened a lot. Yeah. However, with the Amazon Prime shows, apparently a lot of them have 5-year plans, and 5 seasons seems to be the goal that they have a rough sketch for, with 2 seasons being a little bit more sketched out before a writer's room is brought in, if a writer's room is brought in. Obviously, a lot of shows now are written by a single person, and I think that is not to their benefit.
Yeah.
But, I'm not writing it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if season 3 was the first season that didn't come from the original plan, especially because of how different it feels.
Yeah.
And
it's fully post-COVID.
Yeah, I do feel like they're at a point now where they're sort of having to write themselves out of the holes that the first 2 seasons kind of put them in.
Yeah.
Just because of some of their mismanagement, I think, of time in the first 2 seasons.
But also, I think that there have been a few changeovers, because the cinematography has also stepped up this season. So I would not...
Thank God, it's so pretty now.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if, they had a season 1 and season 2 plan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things that they weren't happy with, season 1, season 2, and some people got fired or hired or whatever the case may be.
We were watching, last night we were watching in episode 7 of season 2 when Matt is out on the balcony. And it's full sun and they're in fall and it just looks terrible. It's such a bad shot of him on the balcony in the sunlight. And then we put on season 3 and they're in the desert in full sun all the time, and the show looks so good.
I know.
The upgrade in cinematography, and not just cinematography from a visual standpoint, but also blocking.
Yeah.
Scene blocking is so much stronger now.
Yeah.
The movement of the camera in scenes is so much cleaner. The edits, there's still some bad edits in the fight scenes, but I do think the edits in the conversation are a lot less weird and random.
And much more interesting to watch.
And there aren't just random camera angles. There's a scene, we were watching episode 7 again, and Lan and Rand have a conversation about before Rand goes in to talk to Swan, where Rand is giving him the how to stand, wear your jacket scene.
Lan is cat crosses the courtyard vibes. Yeah.
There's 7 camera angles in that conversation. They're not moving. It's just sometimes it's an over the shoulder, sometimes it's a profile shot, sometimes it's a wide.
Yeah.
And watching the scene last night, I was I have no idea why we're switching angles right now. Yeah. I don't know whose perspective this is. And I think that in season 3, I've never been asking those questions.
Yeah.
I've never been like, oh, why are you suddenly in a profile of the person who isn't talking?
Yeah.
He's not reacting. Okay, that was a weird shot. And then we cut to another weird shot. The cold open of episode 7 is Moraine and Swan.
Yeah.
With the Dragon Mount prophecy.
Yeah.
And the three of them are facing the same direction as the prophecy's happening. And there's like 5 different camera angles they cut to. And it's just like, it's a really weird... It's a weird amount of cuts. Once it gets to cutting to Dragon Mount, the cutting starts to make more sense.
Yeah.
But in the lead up, they cut to like 5 different angles of 3 women facing in the same direction. And there's choices like that in season 2 that just are very baffling individual scene choices.
Yeah.
But that lead up to the show just kind of feeling like it doesn't look great. And then when you see how they shoot season 3, it's like, oh shit, like this is fucking...
Well, it really shines because like I do think that there are things in season 1 and 2 that are done well, and kind of the other elements like the editing and the angles and stuff kind of do it a disservice. I think that there have been really good set decks and good costuming stuff that has been undercut in post-production.
Yes.
Which I love to see that season 3 seems to be far more cohesive with what they're trying to portray in pre, current, and post-production.
Yeah.
Joe White says artificial breaks in the fight scenes boggles me.
They're still doing that. The Avienda land fight from episode 4 could have been really cool, but the editing is clunky in that fight.
It is. I will say, though, I just rewatched season 2. Having said that, it has improved a little bit. Because I saw the Avienda fight with Bane and Chad when they just beat the shit out of her for Giotto. And that fight, I don't remember what I said about it the first time around, but I watched it yesterday for the second time, and I was like, this is really bad. Like, this is confusing. And I know that those actors are capable, and I know that the fight choreography is probably pretty good. The cuts are just arbitrary, and so there has been a step up. Like, I will say there has been a step up in season 3, but there are still moments that I think are too over edited.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But at least the Lan and Avienda fight scene, I could understand what the choreography was.
Yes.
And I wasn't lost in the sauce. I'm like, wait, how did they get here, right?
No, I completely agree. I just think that it's the fight, my least favorite fight scene in season 2 is Avienda's first fight scene. Because it's the introduction to her being this badass warrior, and it's in the dark. It's almost impossible to see what's going on. And there's so many cuts that, like, because of like fabric and clothing and stuff, I was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to get out of this. Is she good at this, or is she winning because it's dark?
Yeah.
Like, instead of you can do a lot to convey competency through length of shot, right? The more the shot lingers on an actor doing something, the more the audience will believe that the character is actually good at that thing.
Yeah.
But when you over edit it, the audience's brain begins to assume that the person couldn't actually pull it off on the day, and that does affect their ability to connect with the character's ability.
Yeah, they don't buy in.
It's why,
it feels fake.
A lot of the John Wick choreography isn't actually the most impressive choreography in the world. It's brilliant, though, because when the choreography is simple, the shots are long. And so it makes the watching the actors do many different things in one take actually conveys to the audience a level of competency that they then attribute to the character.
Yeah.
And it's why those movies are these like action juggernauts that are absolutely brilliant, is that the audience connects to seeing people be good at things in camera. And when it's hit, cut, there's a kick, I think, in the Avienda land fight there's 3 shots in the middle of a kick. And I'm like, just kick her to the ground. Like, we don't need to overcomplicate this. by showing every angle of the kick.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking bullet time in the Matrix. You're not doing bullet time. It's in real time. And so there's just this weird... It disconnects the audience from the competency of the fight scene.
Yeah.
And I just wish they would stop doing it, because apparently in the BTS footage, the fights are long and they are really well choreographed and they're cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like a stylistic choice, but the style is less good than the substance, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because I feel like style should elevate substance and not hinder it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're still in episode
So the rest of episode 1 feels weird because it feels like the White Tower event should shake things up.
And it doesn't. It has absolutely no repercussions at all for anybody anywhere moving forward.
It is also where I think the show in season 3 drops the ball on I think the show has dropped the ball on the Aes Sedai just as a whole, in that every member of the Aes Sedai should know where Rand is, because he's walking around with Aiel guards. You know what I mean? Like, there is no attempt on the show's part for them to be secretive, but the show is pretending that the Aes Sedai don't know what the fuck is going on in their own city.
Yeah.
And the disconnect between those two ideas is... Like, I gave the episode a 6 out of 10. And I understand why people are upset about that, because they're like, but these scenes are really good.
Yeah.
And I agree. The scenes are really good.
Yeah.
But the Aes Sedai are a bunch of incompetent hens picking at each other instead of playing this complicated game of political strategies and ideas.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that the entire Blue Aja doesn't know where the people walking around with Aiel are staying... who are openly wielding... Women in fucking Aiel garb,
with
openly wielding spears on their back.
Yeah.
When everybody over the age of 25 in this town should remember when the Aiel attacked.
Yeah.
They came over the spine and attacked, like, outside the wall here.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like none of these people have ever seen an Aiel before. They literally were at war with them 20 years ago.
Yeah. No, yeah. And 20 years is not that long. A lot of those same people are still alive and are scared of people who, and prejudiced against people who look like Aiel.
Yeah.
That's like a thing for Rand. Rand experiences it in season 2 when he's taking care of that guy who fought in the Aiel War and teaches him some sword stuff. Arzu, I agree 100%. If they hadn't said that was all happening within the same day.
Yeah.
I think they could have gotten away with the vibe post-fight for sure. Because people do get back to normal, right? People have to go about their lives. And so if there had been some time for things to settle afterwards, I think I would have bought into it more, that nobody was acknowledging this crazy fucking thing that happened in the tower exploding. But
yeah,
they made it the same day. And so it does feel disjointed. Feels disconnected.
Well, and where was the... John Schwartz says, in a way, it's a burden to be a book reader because there's so much you notice missing, but on the other hand, your mind can fill in all this rich history and world that the show only sketches out. Here's my problem with that. One of the things I said in episode 1 is that the show is not adapting the Wheel of Time. Mm-hmm. It is adapting story beats and like plot points from the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
But it isn't adapting the Wheel of Time, right? Because adapting the Wheel of Time would involve adapting the themes of the Wheel of Time. Mm-hmm. And the underlying message of the Wheel of Time. And that's not what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. The underlying message and the themes of the show are very different from the books. The events are somewhat similar, right? But the themes of like women in power having to have this cage around them or else people do not trust them is not present in the books.
Yeah.
The show is making the statement that women can be in power. And that is a very much more modern statement than the books are.
Yeah.
But it is lacking the nuance of telling a story about how women who have power still need to be caged to make men feel comfortable.
Yeah.
That concept has just been cut. And so the reason why the fight in the street matters to me is because in the books, the theme of if women ever wielded the one power in that way in public, the power structure of Randland would collapse because the men in charge of the countries wouldn't be able to handle these women having power is just gone, right? You've wiped out what held that concept together.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is the theme that replaces that? Swan is bad at her job. There's no thematic like intrigue in Swan just being bad as the leader of the White Tower.
Yeah.
Right? The White Tower not responding to finding out that there's a Black Aja means that there's no thematic element to that. It's just information that people don't seem to care about that much. The White Tower's incompetence was hidden from the world in the books. Because the sisters all knew that if the kingdoms ever found out that the White Tower wasn't perfect,
is a fucking mess,
they would shut that shit down. They would go to war to make sure that those women don't have power everywhere. And so by removing that theme out of the show, you end up in this weird place where the White Tower just isn't really anything, right? The White Tower isn't...
Yeah, we are kind of in book spoilers.
How is that a book spoiler?
That's a theme from the book.
But that's just that's not a spoiler. That's not an event.
Yeah.
Saying that the theme of women in power having to be that's what Robert Jordan was doing when he created this magic system the way that he did.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't spoiled a single event.
No, that's fair.
I haven't said anything that happens. I'm just saying that like that theme is gone from the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the show tries to pay lip service to it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the show mostly fails at that because there's no consequences to women in power from anyone except other women.
Yeah. Right?
And so the show gets to like have these big action scenes that are very public, and then there's no fallout from it. So then the theme of that is just lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Nightingale, the oaths are not explained enough in the series. I agree, the oaths are barely present. Because Moraine burns a whole fleet of ships to the ground, even though she's not supposed to be able to use the one...
But no, she believes that they might be dark friends, so it's allowed.
Sure, yeah. If you believe real hard enough, you're good. There was a comment earlier that I think that... we've lost. Someone said that the fight scenes feel like the magic fight scenes feel very CW to them because the choreography is too synchronized.
I completely agree with that.
No, here's the thing. If you have read the books, it makes complete sense. But if you haven't read the books, it seems silly. Well, I mean, this is slight spoilers for the books, but the girls are taught to use the physical motions as a crutch.
Oh, that's not what feels weird to me.
No, they all are taught to do the same fucking things, even though it is unnecessary to cast the weaves.
I don't have a problem with the hand motions all being the same, but like when Leandrin gets like raised up into the air at the beginning of that episode,
sure, yeah.
And the Dark Sitters stand up and are like, we're gonna fight now, and then they walk into a formation in the middle of the room and then turn around and start fighting from like a triangle. It just felt like It wasn't it's not the hand motion all being the same. That's fine to me, right?
Yeah.
It was the nod, get up, walk into, like, let's get information, girls. It's weaving time. Going out tonight, killing Aes Sedai, taking out the other ladies. Like, why would you put yourselves in the middle of the room where everyone can attack in on you? That doesn't make any sense.
Right, yeah.
And so...
I see what you mean. I thought you meant, like, the actual gestures of the magic, but yeah.
I like the... Here's the thing. I think that if they... The stronger choice, I think, for them to have made for that would have been to have the Darksitters doing their own things, and then when they link, become synchronized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rather than having them kind of synchronized at the beginning, have them link and have that put them into sync with one another would have been a really cool concept. But the show just kind of has them, like, kind of sync up and... As if they planned this, but they didn't plan it. I don't want to keep talking about the first episode. We need to get to the other episodes because the other episodes are really good.
Yeah. Episode 1 I thought was decent. It is that beginning scene that kind of like has this weird lingering effect through the rest of the episode, even though all of the scenes in the rest of episode 1 are great. The scene where Moraine is like eavesdropping is fantastic.
Yeah.
Moraine is, to me, a totally different character in this show, but that doesn't make her, like, less interesting, at least so far in this season. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the great hangouts. I don't love Avienda and Elaine getting together here in the way that they did.
Joe White, just really quickly, yes, Egwene's refusal to use her hands happens in season 2 when they do the stuff with the water. Alana is like, it'd be easier if you, and she's like, I'm not here for easy. That's the only moment that I can remember
I don't think she's channeled yet this season.
Egwene?
Yeah.
No, and she's not at the White Tower, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, in season 2, there is that moment of Alana trying to teach her the hand wavy tricks, and she's like, no,
sure,
I want to do it without having to rely on that.
Sure. No, I understand that. I just want to say one quick thing about the Avienda Lane thing. I understand that we have to move fast on relationships. That was too fast for me. Them kissing and like the second time we see them in a scene together was just too quick.
Okay, yeah.
And it makes me worried that we're going to do the same thing with Fael and Perrin because we only have 4 episodes left.
Yeah.
We'll get into spoilers for future stuff later. Let's not do that. Egwene channeled at the Mirror Rand.
Oh, true.
Did she?
Yeah.
No, Rand channeled in that scene.
They both did. There was like a fight,
Did they both channel? I don't remember her channeling in that.
Look, I like the Avienda Elaine relationship as well.
Here's the thing. I don't mind them getting together.
Yeah.
I think they're moving too fast. I think they're just being like, and they're together now, and they're together now, and they're together now.
Oh, they're not together. They fucked one time. They're like 19, 20-year-olds. They fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that is such a change. That's yeah.
And that is a whole like worldview change from books to show, and that just is what it is. So
yeah. She breaks one of the mirrors before she gets stabbed. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So she does. Yeah.
Arzu says sometimes you just hook up.
Yeah.
I guess in this version of this world you do.
Her brothers are fucking like crazy, and Matt has to listen to it.
Yes, but that to me would have been better if everybody else wasn't fucking.
Why? They're supposed to be super honorable.
But sex has nothing to do with honor in this world, right? And so
exactly.
So sex doesn't mean anything in the show.
No.
Sex is completely meaningless.
Yeah.
And so like there are great sexual moments in the books that will be also meaningless in the show because they've taken any meaning out of sex.
Are there any we'll get to it in book spoilers, but I don't really think that there's anything.
I don't know how you could say that, but sure, great. We'll get to that later. That is a wild take to me.
Wait, who?
If you don't remember the books, that's fine. That's on you.
Do you mean Igloo?
Yes, of course I mean Igloo. That's a meaningless scene now.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes,
especially
it
with
absolutely
their relationship.
is. Rand has fucked half of the women on the show. Him being like,
wait, what? 2 is not half. That's really bad math. Like, really bad math.
I mean, he's had dream sex with a bunch of people, so.
Only one other.
Sure, fine.
I know you're not used to a lot of women in fantasy, but there are more than 6 women on the show.
I mean, I don't know that there are.
Oh my god.
Arzu, that's not a spoiler.
It's fine. It was my bad. It's all good.
Okay. No, he's had sex with 3 people. Yeah, I'm right.
Who?
He's had sex with, or not Elaine. He's had sex with Avienda. Yeah. No, not Avienda.
Nope. Yeah, who's the fuck is number 3? That was not in this life. That was in a different turning of the wheel. What?
Was it? No, I'm kidding. I'm being facetious a little bit, but, yeah, So, okay, let's get out of episode 1. Episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2. What happens in episode 2? We get, like, the beginning of actually good Matt stuff, which was really nice to see.
Thank goodness, yeah.
Donald Finn is so good.
Is incredible, and unfortunately, I think he was wasted in season 2, but season 3, he's been given so much opportunity, and he's fucking seizing it by the balls, and I love it.
Yeah, I think that, like, Donald Finn is acquitting himself so well to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually is, like, interacting with people in a way that is fun to watch. I don't think anyone was given a harder job than him in season 2 to be a recast who is then just either alone in a room or hanging out with people who are lying to him all the time, basically the entire season.
Yeah.
Like, he was given such little to do in season 2.
Yeah.
And he's such a strong actor. He's so charming. His version of Matt really fucking works.
Yeah.
And so in season 3, just having him interact with people, you know, with like genuine relationships to the character has been so nice.
And I think that they've seeded in the language. Well, what's the
old tongue?
Yeah. I think that they've seeded that in really well in an interesting way.
And he's
flawless at it.
He's flawless at it. He's flirtatious in a way. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. All of the uses of the old tongue have been great.
I agree.
Yeah. And Ruidan did a good job of showing the language change over time.
Yeah.
But Ember Eye says, I don't know why they're retconning Min's actions towards him like he needs to apologize to her, though. That's weird. That is a thing that every man understands. If you're mad at a woman for too long for something that they did legitimately, eventually they'll be upset about it, and you will have to be apologized for hanging on to your anger for too long.
But it's not legitimate because
it is. She sold him to a shaman.
No, she didn't.
He got kidnapped.
She didn't. She literally didn't. She said no. I just rewatched it.
Yeah, it was too fucking late. She still got him to the place where he could get kidnapped because they knew where he was.
No, they were like...
That is 100% on her.
No, he was like, you need to make sure that Matt goes with Rand. And she was like, no.
Okay. She still walked him to the place where the fucking Forsaken knew where he was. And so, yeah, Lanfear had to get him to follow him. But, like, Min being like, I'm sorry... Yeah, you still fucking lied to me and were working for the Forsaken.
She didn't know.
She thought she was selfish reasons.
She thought she was working with Leandrin, who she doesn't know is a Black Aja. She thinks is an Aes Sedai.
Again, Matt didn't do anything wrong. Him being upset about it is valid. Her being like,
sure.
Why are you still mad at me? I said sorry. It's like, I don't care. He doesn't have a relationship with her. They're not friends.
Yeah, they are. They're great friends. They travel all the way to Cairhien together, spend the week there drinking and hanging out.
That's not great friends. There are people that I've done that with whose names I don't know.
That's a you problem.
No, I just, like, Min is the worst part of the show right now. They still haven't figured out how to make her a character on her own.
For sure, yeah.
They've absolutely torched any version of Min from the books.
I know, yeah. It's
there's
unfortunate.
no recovering that character.
Yeah.
I think that they can do interesting things with her because the actress is great. Like, I'm still holding out hope that they give her... That actress uses she, her pronouns, right? I think she does.
I think so.
That they give her good shit to do.
Yeah.
I really want that because I think the actress is fantastic.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know how you do anything Min does from the book at this point.
Yeah.
Father Joseph says Matt didn't do anything wrong. The first and only time this can be said all series.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
But he genuinely did it. He did nothing wrong.
Well, no, and I don't think he did anything wrong. I think it was that Min was trying to explain and apologize, and, like, he was, like, right to be upset, but he also was, like... Again, it's one of those things where these things just carry on too long. Like, yeah. It just feels very inhuman to me. And maybe I am just lucky that the people in my life know how to communicate, but I don't know. It just wasn't handled well on any side.
I think my problem, and I think that Arzu nailed it, is their entire relationship was based on an initial deception that carried on way too long. Why would he care about saying sorry to her? Like, who gives a fuck about this girl? She lied to you. All of your hanging out was a lie.
All the way to
Cairhien but that was because she was misleading him. She didn't want to. That wasn't her. She didn't give a shit about him. She was doing that for herself. Their entire relationship was based on a lie that she told him.
I thought that Matt was the one who wanted to go to Cairhien, and she's like, okay.
Sure, but she was working. But she was like staying with him Not because of friendship,
Okay.
but because she needed to use him.
But she doesn't know that she's using him in the way that, like, she ends up using him because she
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter for friendship. No, it doesn't. I don't care.
You can still become friends with someone when you're thrown into circumstances that you didn't choose.
But no, you can't become friends with someone that you are actively using. That is not friendship.
But that is a lie. So Leandrin is like, hey, man, this guy touched an evil dagger, and you just have to keep an eye on him. We're gonna let him go, but he needs someone to keep an eye on him.
That's not friendship. That's babysitting.
But that can become friendship.
It can after, but they could become friends now, but they're not friends then. That's not how that works.
But those memories just don't like go away.
When you are babysitting someone in order to get something for yourself, and they're nice, and so it's a good time, you're not friends because everything you're doing is a lie.
All right.
It's the same with any relationship. If you get into a relationship with anybody under false pretenses, even if you're having a good time, it is not a real relationship to that person because everything you're telling them is not true. And
if everything you're telling them is not true, then yeah, that's different.
Sure. But like Matt being in this position where he has to chase her down to apologize to her was unfortunate to me. I didn't enjoy it. I thought that
I feel like it's a nod to the, like, when he frees the women from the cells or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like that's just I thought it was supposed to be more of a reference, but again, it does kind of fuck with their characters for kind of not really an important reason.
Well, it just makes Min seem shitty.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think. Sucks. Yeah, I don't love show Min, unfortunately.
And it's wild because it's a great performance.
Yeah,
like I actually think the actress is crushing. The way she stands in that white suit is so cool.
I know.
Like she has so much swagger to play just the worst character on the show, and it's not her fault at all. And I don't even think it's the writer's fault at this point. I think that they just don't. I don't think they know what to do with the character.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think that they have a great actress and they have a great book version of this character that they're not interested in doing it all.
Yeah.
And I think they're just lost on her.
Yeah.
And so now she has to like sneak to be a part of the Tenchiko mission.
Yeah.
And she just I don't know.
Okay, moving on from Min stuff. I want to know what chat thinks about our introduction to Morghese. Because I had
episode 2, introduction to Morghese.
Seen conflicting things, and I you know what, I do agree that I think that scene was incredibly out of character for what we know about Morghese.
Mm-hmm.
It is not book Morghese. Yeah,
I don't mind that though. Like, book Morghese just doesn't really go anywhere.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Book Morghese is kind of a punching bag. And I like that this character isn't.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're going to go into that
I know.
story, though. So yeah. And I'm not saying I didn't like her as a character. I'm just not 100% sure why they made that choice that they did.
Well, and one of the elements that the show, I think, is struggling with...
Killing children in front of her own children. Okay, but not even killing children in front of her own children. Getting someone to assassinate... Getting the closest person in their life to assassinate that person in front of their children. Wild. That brother killed his own sister. I don't know what the relationships between the other two were, but the fact that they were standing there right beside them means that it is an incredibly close relationship.
You think they were brother and sister? I don't.
She said, brother, no. And her brother slits her fucking throat.
Huh.
It's literally the people that are closest to them. Morghese is like, you're gonna kill them.
Oh, right, because the succession can only be women, so yeah. I was like, no, that would still leave the succession in that family, but
no, the brother is...
The brother can't succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like her. I'm not gonna lie. I think that...
Sorry, a stab in the neck. My bad.
I think one of the problems with Morghese that the show was going to have is that by introducing her essentially in book 4 instead of book 1, right? Because the plot of this is book 4, not book 3, right? You have to move so much faster because so this is kind of a book spoiler, but it's for Eye of the World. So
Eye of the World spoiler for those of you listening.
When we meet Morghese in Eye of the World, it is from Rand's very naive point of view coming from the Two Rivers.
Right.
And so the book is able to make her majestic and noble and regal because we see it from Rand's point of view.
Yeah.
When he's when he's still a farm boy Rand.
Mm-hmm.
The show can't introduce Morghese with that level of status without making her have a little bit more edge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I think that while, yes, she has more edge here, I think it actually is a strong choice because I understood who she was very quickly and what her relationship was to Elaine very quickly, which is the only relationship that really mattered for her character right now.
Yeah, okay.
And so I actually think that moving her into that role... Look, the succession role... The succession war that's mentioned in the book... we don't get this scene, but, like, we are told it was awful. You know what I mean? Like, we're not told that, like, it was, like, a fucking walk in the park.
No. But here's the thing. The war is done. And that is the line for me.
Yeah.
I imagine that Book Morghese is having people assassinated and killed and such while they're at war. But bringing people to you under the guise of peace.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, buddy, we're good now. Just fucking kidding. I'm going to have the closest person in your life to you murder you. Like, after they swear fealty to her is so cold. And that's why it felt different. It's the moment that they accept her and swear fealty to her, that she says, nah, fuck it, that's not good enough, is a totally different vibe to me than someone who is in the middle of a war and doing things to protect themselves and their children and, like, be top dog or whatever.
No, and I agree with you. I don't think that it is... Here's the thing. I think that it was a spectacle moment that isn't good for the show unless the show does something with it. But the show doesn't do anything with anything that they set up. And so I'm not convinced that it was anything more than a spectacle moment. Which is not, in my opinion, good television, right? It's a thing that I complain about this show. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think that it was just to be shocking. And it's a cool scene. It is a cool scene. The Lion Throne, dope as fuck.
Yeah, it's very cool.
The costuming of Andor, sick.
I wonder if the whole intent of that scene is to show how Elaine is going to be different than her mother. Because she will be. Right? She is different than her mother.
Will she?
I think so. If that's the direction they go with Elaine in the show, I think that's going to be pretty rough.
I don't know. They've made Elaine like an 18-year-old alcoholic, so I don't know.
I don't think that... I mean, look, she's bored. I get it. Like...
Sure, they've really defined Elaine by her alcoholism in a way that I'm surprised by.
I think that you are the only one that thinks that.
She makes toilet wine.
Yeah.
After being in the White Tower for, like, 4 days.
She's trying to make a friend.
It's not... Yeah, I know. I get that. I totally understand that. But it is, like, day 4, and she's like, oh, no, I've already made hooch.
Yeah.
I'm worried. And then Gabriel shows up, and she's like, because we just drink together all the time.
What do you think rich people do?
I know, but I don't know why they've... the show seems to really want me to, like, be very aware of Elaine's drinking in a way that is surprising to me.
Yeah. All right, so thank you for that super chat. Most things about Morghese in the books are Elaine's perspective on her mother's past, and she idolizes her mother, so how reliable is it? I mean, I guess you can be like, what the show is representing is actually wrong, but then you can take that logic and apply it. I don't think
the show. No, the show event actually happened.
The show event. The show event where Morghese murders children in front of her children after they swear fealty to her?
Yeah, that's not what Elaine thinks happened. That's what happened in the show world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that event happened. It's not like
And Arzu is saying, like, in the books, like, there's stuff that is alluded to, but we see everything from Elaine's perspective.
Like, it just isn't. This isn't the story from the book. So it's a different character completely. More gay, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's not I don't know what your point you're trying to make is in relation to the comment.
I'm saying that I don't think that this happened in the world of the books.
No.
And Arzu is right about Elaine's Arzu's vision of her mom in the books is that version of it, and I think that version is mostly reliable. Because I think that we have a lot of perspectives on Morghese. I think the show version is this, and I just think they're I just think they're different. I don't think that there's. I don't think you can really compare show Morghese and book Morghese. I think they're wildly different characters.
Yeah, I think we can definitely accept that these are two very different stories, and that just is what it is. But yeah, I do. I think that Gawain and Galad have been great so far. Do they show? Are they in episode? They're in episode 2. Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I like them. I think they're good casting. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone introduced in this episode, great casting. Fucking Shora is much better at playing Aleida than I thought. Not that I thought she was gonna be bad at playing Aleida. Mm-hmm. Shora's Aleida makes more sense to me than I thought it was going to.
Okay, yeah.
I still think she's too old. But I'm into it. I think she's just too much older than Moiraine. But and Swan, right?
Why does that matter?
Because of like, we'll talk about it in book spoilers.
All right, sure.
Then I think that Morghese is great casting. Gabriel is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I missed him in episode 4. I want more of him.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Incredible, yeah.
He's so damn good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, fucking, he is eating it up. I don't love the way they're using his powers, but, like, he's fucking chewing through the show in a way that is awesome.
Yeah.
He's stealing every scene he's in. Like, genuinely just robbing the show blind. And yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I think Gawain and Galad are both great. I like Galad more than I like Gawain right now.
Yeah, but Gawain right now feels more like end of books Gawain, which I think is interesting.
Oh, I don't think he does. I think he feels he feels too confident to me. I wish that they had. I wish that in the. I think the problem I have with Gawain and Galad right now is that they feel too similar.
Yeah.
They feel like they're just kind of the same guy.
They do feel like the same. Yeah, same guy, different font.
The Galad version of it works better for me than the Gawain version does. I don't think they've given them enough. I don't think they gave Gawain enough to introduce him as anything other than also hot brother who fucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scafandi, welcome back to the Nerds. Radiant. To be fair, she is already under the influence of a Forsaken. Who is?
Morghese. But the show can't do that.
When she murders children?
And this is the thing, right? The show has established when the Forsaken are released as being and this is a thing the show did that the books don't do, which I think is a huge mistake on the part of the show.
Yeah.
Which is that the show is like, there is a date on our calendar when the Forsaken get out of their prisons.
Yeah.
And so they can't have been there are certain events in the show that you can't be like, oh, this is the long con of the Forsaken, because the Forsaken were literally locked away.
Yeah.
And that was a choice that the show has made to be like, on this date in Falm, Lanfear let all of the Forsaken go.
No,
Ishamael let all the Forsaken go.
Yeah.
They have established that.
It was literally 1 month ago. Literally.
Yeah.
Takes them a month to travel.
because we don't know. Here's the thing: we don't know how much time passes between episode 1 and 2. It's a month. It's a month before episode 1.
If it's only one, if episode 1 takes place over 1 day, I can't imagine it would be an extensive period of time.
Well, they get all the way to the spine. They walk all the way to the spine without horses for some reason. Why don't they have horses? I don't know. Why did they leave Tarvalon?
Bring back Aldib and Mandarb.
Yeah. The show's idea of when to have horses and when not to have horses is getting really weird to me. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes they have horses to, like, go to, like, the next town, and then, like, Perrin Loyal, Bane, and Chad go through the ways, and they get all the way to the 2 rivers. But, like, why? Why don't they have horses?
Well, the Aiel won't ride horses.
Sure, and maybe that... Yeah, you know what? Actually, that's a good enough reason. Yeah.
They don't say that.
But yeah, there's just... The show has this, like, really inconsistent amount of horse work in it. I just wish that... if you're gonna have these characters be like, okay, I guess we're going on this like weeks-long journey to the mountains. Do we need anything? No. All right. I guess we don't need supplies. Like they're
gonna have to carry that shit themselves. The Aiel will run with it, okay?
Yeah,
we had a long conversation about Aiel and running and horses.
We did.
You're gonna have to
I learned a lot about horses.
Book club to fucking get that one.
Lona Boy says they'd have to ship horses to Namibia. That's a great point. That it's probably just a production thing. I just find it very funny. I find the logic of how characters are getting around in the show doesn't work. And I've given up on it.
Yeah, I do think that the timelines have been super muddy. Like, yeah, we don't know how long it's been to get to fucking Ruidan, right? We're just kind of traveling, which is fine. As long as they don't try and quantify it.
Yes, yeah.
And make it, like, really goofy, then it'll be fine. It's just hand-wavy time.
Well, and they've stopped talking about time at all. Yeah. And I think that's smart.
Except that everything on episode 1 took place in one day.
I know, but that doesn't work.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
The 1 month from Falm to Tarvalon doesn't work.
Yeah, if they just hadn't said anything, I think it would be stronger.
Well, and like here's what's so wild though. I feel like they don't take the ways back from Tarvalon to Tarvalon between seasons, and I thought that was an indication that like the ways were dangerous or something. Mm-hmm. But then after that, everyone's using the ways like crazy. And I was like, why did you take a boat?
We don't need to worry about Machin Shin.
But why did you take I know it's dumb and I don't need an explanation, but like, why did you take a boat? I can't, like, it makes no fucking sense to me. That they were like, we could walk in 3 days, or we could sit on a boat for a month.
Machin Shin.
Yeah, man, I don't know, but apparently Alana and her warder can get through the ways without a guide. So like, I don't know anymore, man.
Yeah. Perrin fucks off to the Two Rivers, and he's like hiding in the inn.
This works, but it is so goofy that he's like famous. Everybody's looking for him. He walks all the way to the middle, and this is where good writing is butting up against bad,
like,
planning, bad pre-production stuff, right? Because the scene of them being like, "You can't be here; they're looking for you," is fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. But then he's just walking around town the next episode, and he's like working in the blacksmith the next episode, and people aren't like, "You need to hide." Like, there's no logic to Mama being like, hey, you need to get out of Dodge. This is dangerous for you. The White Cloaks are after you. And then walking him through the center of town to the inn. And then the next episode, it's fine for him to be outside.
To be fair, they are here and they go here. It would be weird to... They're in the middle of town already. Just cutting straight to the inn is the only option.
I would agree with you if the next episode they were being secretive at all. But he literally is like working in an open blacksmithy the next episode, not even considering the fact that the White Cloaks are after him.
Wait, when is he working in the blacksmithy? I thought that
in episode 3. He's fucking banging. He picks up the hammer again. He's in the smithy. He's banging shit out.
I don't remember that at all.
And so, like, the idea that in episode 2, there's this like tension that is in the writing of like, oh my god, the White Cloaks are after you.
Yeah,
that is good. And the scene in the blacksmithy in episode 3 is also good. Those two scenes don't work together.
Oh, choose right, because Fael is there.
Like, if you need to keep Perrin a secret, he can't then in the next episode be sitting at a table with outsiders. You have to choose one of those two things. It can't just be both.
Yeah.
And expect me to be on board with it.
We did get introduced to Lord Luke. So that is maybe happening. So
I dug that.
Yeah,
the cool. Casting for Lord Luke, great.
Yeah.
I like Fael.
Oh, yeah. Fael's been great. She hasn't done a ton yet. But I think that, like, because episode 4 was so heavily Rand, I think that we are going to get our other characters in next episode 5, which is great. I'm excited for that.
Lightblind Fool says the reason he doesn't have to hide in the attic is they made sure all the people were on board with not reporting him to the White Cloaks.
They literally say that the Coplans and they literally say that they would report him.
Yeah.
Egwene's mom does say those words.
Here's the thing, guys. I understand what you're saying. I get it. But if the needing to be secret thing doesn't matter at all, just don't have that scene. Just don't do it.
Yeah,
This,
I guess.
why waste time on dialogue that you're going to immediately ignore? And I think that here's the thing. All of these scenes are great, right? Perrin, I liked the scene when they first get out of the Waygate and Perrin and Loyal explain the longing. I thought that scene was fantastic.
Yep.
I hope that goes somewhere this season. I think that could, right?
Yeah.
But I just think that, like, don't add dialogue into your runtime that you then ignore in following scenes. If there's no reason to say it, just don't. Like, that scene doesn't need to exist. You can just have him go meet her and her be like, hey, come on in. The White Cloaks are after you, so be careful. But, like, they hide in the attic for the rest of that episode, accomplishing nothing because of a thing that they immediately ignore that never mattered. And so, like, Perrin could have just... All the scenes that happen in the attic didn't need to happen in the attic. They could have just happened in the end. We could have introduced Fael an episode earlier, allowing us to have more time to build their relationship so that the end of the season matters more between the two of them. Like, there are elements of the show that could be stronger, but we had to spend time on this, like, you have to hide in the attic secrecy bullshit that didn't matter the next episode.
Which I think is more to do with Alana because she's there, but I don't know. Yeah.
Lightblind Fool says, the thing is, if they didn't hide him first, you'd complain about that too. No, I wouldn't, because I didn't know that he needed to hide. The show told me he needed to hide. I didn't think... When he was walking through town, if you go watch the reaction, I'm not like, why is Perrin out in the open?
Oh, yeah, I
was like, oh, yeah. It's the fact that the show is like, you have to hide. That I'm like, oh, okay, but why?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't, and I'm like, why did you say that?
Yeah.
Right? That's what doesn't work for me. It's the, like... If she had just showed up and been like, hey, the White Cloaks are after you, be careful about that, I would have been like, okay, cool. Perrin doesn't care, so then he keeps walking around anyway. But they waste half an episode of Perrin's storyline by having them have this conversation in the attic with Alana and her warder that also doesn't make any fucking sense. And
I love that he's like, why are we here? And Alana's like... I'm like, but no, you need to tell us because I'm so confused why you came here. They did have a great scene though, at the grave. Alana and Perrin.
Fantastic scene.
Had just a phenomenal scene. Great dialogue.
I'm so happy Alana's here. I am. I love that she's here because she's great, and I love the dynamic between her and Perrin in that grave scene.
Yeah.
I love that field of trees being the graves is so good. Mm-hmm. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, and shot so beautifully. The lighting is so soft. I just wish that they hadn't killed the Black Warder. This show loves to just kill the dark-skinned people. I don't know why. I don't get it. But if they just hadn't killed the warder in episode 1, which has no value on the show other than to create another season-long fight between a warder and an Aes Sedai that doesn't exist in the books, that's just this warder and this Aes Sedai are mad at each other again. We did that with Lan and Moiraine in season 2. We're doing it again in season... Like, every season we just have this invented conflict about a warder and their Aes Sedai.
Yeah. You're right. Rima is actually, she's free and alive. So thank God for that, actually. But, yeah.
Yeah. The original actor left the show, so they switched which would die. Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, Alana and her warder getting into a fight in the street of Tarvalon and then losing her warder and then just immediately being like, let's go to the Two Rivers, just doesn't make sense to me on any level. There's no... And beating Perrin there, it just doesn't...
Yeah. That's why her warder's like, bruh, why are we here? And she's like...
Yeah,
You're gonna have to figure it out.
It's too suspicious and weird.
They do make it suspicious in a bit of an unnecessary way.
DK Moon says, although Rima return was kind of like Loyal's dagger stab return. Yeah. Also, where's the fucking dagger?
She's just there. Yeah, the dagger is
Where is the dagger?
Wherever the dagger needs to be. I don't know. Padden Fane found it and took it again.
That's probably what it is,
probably
and that's
going
to piss me off.
But yeah, they definitely didn't show that. Having literally just rewatched it last night. But yeah, I'm just assuming. Because Padden Fane is on the poster.
Yeah.
And so we were like, do they even do Ordeath stuff? Probably not. But I think that they will because he's on the poster.
They have to. It's just... I'm a little so just full clarity. The end of book 4 in Emond's Field is my favorite thing about the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Like, not like one of my favorites, not very good. It is my favorite piece of writing from the entirety of Robert Jordan's series.
Mm-hmm.
And so, while I am enjoying season 3, my expectations for that are higher than you could possibly believe.
Higher than Ruidan.
And I am genuinely worried that we're going to rush into it and rush out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just won't have the impact of being... And I need to let go of my expectations. I get that. I'm probably going to hold it to a standard that is impossible to hit. But it is one of my favorite moments in all of fantasy writing ever.
Yeah.
Right? It is like up there with the first time I read Helm's Deep. It is up there with the first time that I read... I'm trying to think of another fantasy book that has a moment like that. I'm not questioning certain stuff from Cosmere that I don't want to spoil.
You're right, yeah.
It is one of my favorite chapters of any book ever written. And so I really hope that they give some time to this storyline before we get there. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like the Perrin stuff is the like 5th most important thing in the show right now.
Well, I think
timeline, amount of time wise.
I think that now that they got through the Ruidan episode,
yeah,
I think it is totally possible that we really focus in on Perrin stuff in Emond's Field. I think that is definitely possible. I don't know how probable it is.
Yeah.
Because I agree. I think that it is such a there is so much good shit in this book that it's
my favorite of his books.
I am hopeful that we just get bangers after bangers for this season.
Yeah.
Episode 7 is called Golden Eyes. Yeah.
Which means that we have to set up a ton of shit in 2 episodes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reviews said it's a Perrin-only episode, which I think they're probably going to need, but that is interesting.
I feel so weird about how many people have seen the entire season at this point.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
And like and look, I'm happy for like smaller channels that got the whole thing. And I'm not saying that we should have gotten it. We shouldn't have. We've shit on the first 2 seasons. Amazon Prime has and we stopped watching Rings of Power. Amazon Prime has no reason to send us anything.
Oh yeah.
I will say this. I think that there are too many channels that I don't think know how to review things without spoilers, because there's too many things that I've heard. And I think that, like, I don't know. I feel a little bit weird about sending a bunch of YouTubers the ability to spoil shit. And that's weird, because I'm like, do I think that corporations are more trustworthy? No. But at the same time, or like corporate review sites.
Yeah.
But like, there's just something about embargoes that I feel like a lot of people have broken the embargo, because apparently there's a lot of spoilers out there for the season, and that sucks.
Really? That's a little unfortunate.
I feel like we've done a good job avoiding them, but
yeah, no, I haven't seen any spoilers at all. Kyle, thank you for that super duper chat. Let's go. Catching up 1.5. Hi, season 3, Matt. Low, I'll give my life to keep Rand away from the Aes Sedai. Let's all go to Tarvalon, and I won't tell you to hide being the dragon and Hornblower.
Yeah, they've kind of made him an idiot, but it makes sense because he doesn't know who he is. So like, the like getting lost in his memories thing is working for me.
I think this is more a criticism of Moraine.
I think that blowing the horn has made him literally become splintered a little bit personality wise. Like,
for sure.
I'll give my life to keep Rand away from the Aes Sedai is pre-Hornblow, and I think that he needs to find his way back to that. I think that he is this very chaotic mess who doesn't understand his own feelings right now. And so, like, that stuff is working for me, mostly because of Donald Finn's performance. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like, I think that he's selling me on this guy who is, like, I don't want to use the word schizophrenic because that has connotations to it, but, like, is having these sort of moments where his personality is getting pulled into other people's personalities.
Yeah.
And
I do love that Swan is like, yeah, you know, the person who blows the horn can only be the person to blow the horn as long as they're alive. So it's a good thing nobody knows who you are. And Matt's like, yeah, for sure, 100%. I agree. I think it is more on Moraine, honestly. Like, Moraine's actions in this season have not been my favorite, which is why I said she feels like a totally different character because she's not really following through on the things that she says, and then is like, yeah, I'm gonna let Lanfear fucking murder these children to fuck with Rand.
That's the only thing I don't like. I actually think episode 2, 3, and 4 Moraine has been great.
Yeah, but she hasn't done anything. She's been chilling in the sweat tent, and then she goes to Ruidan. That's true. I hear what you're saying.
And, like, she's been, like, listening to Rand talk.
Exactly. Yes. No, episode 2, 3, and 4 of Moraine is great because she's not letting Lanfear torture the children.
Skepcat says, I dug the chemistry between the actors for Swan and Matt in that scene. Mm-hmm. I like that scene a lot because it's one of the few times this season where Swan isn't a terrible character. It's always a great performance.
Oh, it is always
terrible character. Swan
They've kind of taken her book incompetence and dialed it up to 100.
But in her book incompetence, she's incompetent in a very few specific directions,
that
but
you understand.
Highly competent in others.
Exactly.
They've made the show version of Swan is just bad at everything.
Yeah, kind of.
We were watching, like, the scene with her and Rand in episode 7 of season 2 is the most politically clumsy actions by someone maybe ever. She's just belligerent and mean and aggressive.
Well, yeah, because she's gonna throw him in a cage. She doesn't care about being nice.
But she doesn't decide to do that until she realizes that Moraine hasn't taught him anything, which happens after she watches him channel and shields him, even though she can't see him channel. But we went back and watched it. Went back and watched it. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't tense up. He doesn't move. He just starts to channel, and the show wants to have it both ways. But God, Swan, she is bad.
That is something that I am very frustrated with because the show says that women can see men's weaves, but also not see men's weaves.
No, it says that they can't, but then it keeps showing them doing it.
Yeah.
It's the problem with, like, Swan. Jason Farley says Swan is in the books is very incompetent, but only at specific things.
Well, I think the problem is that in the books, her incompetence and what she's bad at is highlighted. But I don't know. I'm trying to think what Swan is actually good at in the books, and it's not. That's spoilers. We can't get into that.
No, I know.
But yeah.
But the show version of this character is saved by the fact that they make the other Aes Sedai awful. Mm-hmm. Like just like the scene where Aleida is just manipulating everyone with no effort. It is, in episodes 2 and 3, Aleida is walking all over them. It's crazy. Like, and no one picks up that they're being manipulated ever.
Oh, yeah.
There's no political game to it. Aleida just walks in, tells people to do things, and then they go do exactly what she wants. And it's telegraphed so hard for the audience that I'm like, shouldn't these women pick up on this?
The Tower is incredibly incompetent.
Yeah, it's the Tower stuff isn't great. The problem is that everything else is so good right now. I said it in the reaction, but in episode 3, I thought I was going to hate the justification for Nynaeve and Elaine going to hunt the Black Tower. I was ready to rip the show apart.
Not the Black Tower, but the Black Aja.
Black Aja. I was ready to rip the show apart for it, and they crushed it.
They made it work.
They, like, the Nynaeve Elaine stuff in episode 3 worked, other than, I think, completely skipping over Elaine's test, which I didn't love.
I think that is a little unfortunate, but it's also not something that we get in the book, so.
I think that they crushed Nynaeve and Elaine's scenes with the Black Aja in the tower, the interrogation, the leaving, why they left, taking Matt with them. Like, I thought that shit was so good.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed by it. Matt Reeves says the Aleida stuff is rushed because of 8 episodes. Okay, but, like, Game of Thrones seasons were only 8 episodes. Or 10 episodes. And they didn't have to dumb the politics down and, like...
It's because there was only the politics, really.
Like... But Game of Thrones also had way more plot lines than this. And still managed to give... I didn't feel watching... And I shouldn't compare to Game of Thrones, but it is the other show, right? I didn't feel like I always knew 100% what the political machination in the scene was. And the problem I have with the latest stuff isn't that it's moving fast. It's that
it's obvious.
Yeah, it's that I'm sitting there going, "Oh, of course."
Yeah.
Like it's like Matt Reeves is saying, there's no time to let it breathe. the show isn't trying to breathe. The show is like allowing the audience to have a exact view of what Aleida is doing, and then the next scene it cuts to them falling for the thing that you know they're going to fall for, and then the next scene they do it again, and so it's not just that it's quick; it's that it isn't. There's no nuance to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very obvious what Aleida is trying to do, and it just works every time. And no one is pushing back on her. They're all just failing.
You know what we forgot to mention that we noticed last night?
Yes.
Is that Varen goes to take Rand's shield from Leanne, and there are no consequences for Varen at all. She's just in the White Tower chilling. She's
this show doesn't.
That one was interesting. I was like, oh, they definitely something got cut there. I think, or they forgot about it.
No, the show doesn't care what happens in previous seasons. This season starts where they want it to start.
Yeah.
The characters who are alive are the characters who are alive. Like, and it is the Prime Video problem because all the Prime Video fantasy shows do this. It doesn't actually matter what happened last season. This season is a new season. And so, whatever happened in that month, Varen patched her relationship with Swan, and there's no consequences, right? Where's the dagger? It doesn't matter. That was a season 2 dagger. There's no season 3 dagger. Why would that matter?
Dagger? What dagger? Who's she? I don't know.
You know
her.
what I mean?
Yeah.
How did Loyal survive getting stabbed by the poison dagger? How did everyone survive it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The dagger that burns a hole in the door, the fucking lightsaber. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's a new season.
Yeah.
It is one of the weakest things about the show, and about Rings of Power too. So I think that this is a Prime Video thing where they continuously go, we're starting a new season. We're not continuing the last season. It does whatever happened. We don't care.
Yeah.
And so I think that WrestleMania says Prime doesn't budget enough episodes. That doesn't have anything to do with this though. The amount of episodes that they have doesn't matter when you're just going to do things
look,
and then
I agree
the consequences of them are it's a new season, so we're not doing it.
I don't think that they might be behind in terms of like timing. I don't think that enough episodes has anything to do with season to season continuity, but I do think that Wheel of Time would have benefited from more episodes.
Yeah. That just doesn't have anything to do with them just ignoring what they've done.
Yeah.
Like this season doesn't pay off a lot of stuff that happens in those final 2 episodes.
Yeah.
They don't matter.
Which is unfortunate, but I that being said, season 3 by itself, I think has been very successful.
Yeah.
So much good stuff and things that I think that they are setting up that I'm like, okay, I think that I see the direction that certain things are being taken.
And here's the thing. I think that shit's bad. I think that season 2 is bad. Ignore it. I'm not gonna complain about them ignoring things forever because I'm happy with season 3 right now. Ignore it. Move on from it. We might comment on and be like, it's weird that they dropped it, but like drop.
Well, and
you
in
know
a
what?
live stream like this, I thought it was fun to bring up because
No, I know. I mean, we're not going to bring it up in every reaction episode.
Yeah. Because I'm also, like the reason we're doing this live is I'm super curious about what chat thinks as well.
Yeah.
And if maybe we've missed something, but I'm like, oh yeah, no, Varen gets away with anything.
I am fine with them dropping some stuff because some of it's just not good writing, and I think the writing is stronger now, and so they've moved on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm so fine with that. Like, I'm so fine with them forgetting about some stuff that they fucked up. Because, whatever. At this point, the continuity of the show is already completely fucked, right? The continuity from season 1 to now is kind of a mess. And so, to try and start making continuity a, like, forefront for the show now would then imply that, like, I think that leaving it a little nebulous is actually a stronger thing for the show.
We've said that it works better when things are a little bit nebulous, like timelines and stuff like that. If you have to do a bit of hand wavy stuff to make it work, just don't draw attention to it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I think that one thing I wish that they dropped, because should we go to book spoilers? We've been talking for 90 minutes. Should we go to book spoilers?
Probably, unless you want to talk Ruidan non-book spoilers first, but...
We just about reaction. It's so good. I don't have a lot to say about it without going into book spoilers, right? Like, it was just great. Yeah. I thought the episode... Look, there's stuff that I wish was there that's missing, and there's ways I wish it could be stronger, and we kind of talked about Ruidan at the beginning. Okay. Episode 4 is fantastic.
Before we get into book spoilers, then, if there's anything chat wants us to discuss...
Yeah, drop a question. I'm going to pee really quick.
Go pee. You can drop a question. If there's something you want us to touch on before we get into book spoilers, this is the moment. Like, something that you want clarification on, or maybe a prediction, feel free to drop that. We'll get to what we can. Would the show have survived if the studio wasn't so involved with small Wheel of Time YouTubers? I mean, yeah, I think so. I think that I think that YouTubers putting out their opinions on the show doesn't actually influence people that strongly. You can take our channel, for example. There are plenty of people who love everything that the show has done, and we have been fairly critical of certain things. Mostly the end of season 1 and a good chunk of season 2. Because I do still think that season 1... has some good stuff in it, even if certain things set up aren't either paid off or the continuity is kept up. But no, I don't really think that this show is living off of small YouTubers, because like you said, small YouTubers don't have enough of an audience to keep a show afloat that costs this much money. Yeah. Have y'all addressed Rafe's acknowledgement that Matt's actor leaving at the end of season 1 messed up his story all the way through season 2? I mean, I don't know if we've said much more than that probably really sucked.
What?
Rafe acknowledged that Matt's actor leaving at the end of season 1 kind of messed up their plot for season 2. I think that...
So? Like, am I supposed to feel bad for you?
Well, Fix it. I think that that's the problem, is that what you gave us wasn't good enough. If Matt had barely been in season 2, I think that would have been a stronger choice, to be honest. Like, legitimately, I think that if maybe he had just fucking shown up in Kyrian and you'd come up with a reason for him to be there and he was there for the last couple episodes of the season, that would have been a stronger choice, because you've kind of assassinated Min's character and fucked around with Matt's in season 2.
Yeah.
So I do understand that fucked things up. I think that they made poorer choices because of that.
Yeah, but also, like, what was that tea scene? What was it supposed to be?
I don't know. It's just his mom traumatizing him, and it's not relevant to what happens afterwards, unfortunately.
It's a big chunk of that episode to accomplish what?
I couldn't tell you.
And then he just blows, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Claris, do you think they are balancing things well with the women in the show so far? I need a little more clarification. The handling of women is a common complaint from the books. Look. My take is that the Wheel of Time is not feminist writing. It is not like...
Yeah.
I think there are lots of female characters, and that is what the books does that hadn't been done before.
Yeah.
But I do think that all of the women in the books have the same flaw, where they're super bitchy.
Not all of them, but a majority of them.
90% of the women in the books are all super bitchy and care about clothing and are naked and spanking one another. Like, I don't know
that they're naked that much less. There's been a lot of nudity on the show.
Yeah, but not for no reason.
Women.
No, I mean, the nudity is mostly, like, for sex. Like, I don't... Like, Aviendha doesn't get naked and run off into the Ruidan. Like...
Sure. But there are a lot of random moments where, like, the Blues are having a secret spy meeting in a steam room.
Yeah, it's just... It's a onsen. I don't know.
Oh, sure. I just mean that, like, there has been nudity in the show.
Yeah, but the nudity is, like...
not ritual nudity, that's true, Smith.
Bathing. Yeah, the ritual nudity is removed, but when they're bathing, or in the sweat tents, they're naked. Jason, I think that question is tough for me to really answer, because I don't think that the women are written particularly well in the books at certain points. I think that Robert George did an incredible job of crafting incredible journeys and story points and like a overall thing that was really interesting and fight scenes that are really interesting. But I do not think that the women and their personalities are the strength of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
So I like the characters in the show so far because they actually do feel separate and individual and not just bitchy but different font, if that makes sense. Like shitting on men bitchy but slightly different from person to person. Because sometimes that is what the books felt like. It was women shitting on men in a way that I was like, okay, I get it. I get it.
I don't know. I think that the women, particularly Egwene, has been given a lot.
If you're asking if I think a show is writing them better, I do think so in certain instances.
I think that Egwene's gotten a lot. I think honestly, like for only having been in 10 episodes so far, or less honestly, I think Elaine has some really good stuff.
Fantastic.
I don't know. I think the show is a mixed bag, right? I think that
agree because I think Min is unfortunately severely underserved, and Nynaeve has been severely underserved, right? But
Nynaeve's plot ever since she like fought Leandrin and pushed her against the wall in the kitchen, from then on, Nynaeve has been terrible.
Which is unfortunate. I think that she actually is one of the more interesting characters in the book.
Yes. Yeah.
But she's kind of like
aggravating, but interesting.
Oh, yes. She's definitely aggravating. But yeah, I really hope that that Nynaeve's character is given a little more care and attention moving forward from the show in this point.
I just feel like they've I feel like they've I feel like
see if there are any other questions.
I think they've put Nynaeve in a position where they've defined her too much by her block. Instead of having it be a part of her character, that is all she is right now. Yeah. And it's just too they're leaning on it too hard.
Yeah.
If you have a question that we haven't answered, drop it again.
Yeah, sorry. If we missed your question before, chat's moving and
I agree that Rand has kind of had nothing to do. I think season 2 Rand is just awful. I hate
season 2 Rand?
Going back over what Rand does in season 2, which is mostly just fucks Lanfear, fucks around in Kyrian.
He beats
someone to death.
Yeah.
Like
to get to Logain.
Rand isn't doing fucking anything. He's just chilling in Kyrian doing random shit that isn't from the books.
He feels lost in season 2.
Yeah, because I'm lost about what they're going for.
Which I think is from the books.
No. In book 2 he's still traveling. Him being lost is later shit.
But it's book 3 stuff. I mean,
sure.
It is.
Sure, but he's not fucking Lanfear, and then immediately getting back together with Egwene. Okay, let's go book spoilers. From here on out, everything is on the table.
All right.
Everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table. Full book spoilers.
We said we weren't going to go 2 hours, and yet here we are. We definitely are.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm having a blast. This has been very fun. Thank you for being here. This has been great.
Thank you guys.
Because I like that I'm not just shitting on it. I have plenty of good things to say. I just, it is, season 3's been great.
And in a reaction, we don't have the back and forth with you guys as well and your input, which I do really like, and that's why I love book club so much, honestly. But
fuck, man, I hate that him and Egwene are still together.
I think it's very weird.
How do we? Fuck, man, like they're gonna have to break up.
I know, and that's gonna feel like probably cringy.
Their relationship has to end.
Unless, hear me out, unless they're removing Min from the throuple, and it's gonna be Egwene instead.
But then, no, you can't do that, right? You can't do that because it is gonna be really hard for the show to make Elaine and Aviendha work in a throuple when Rand, if they stay with Egwene, if they stay together.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Arzu. I'm so sorry.
What?
Arzu was like, no, it can't be Egwene. And I agree.
If Egwene and Rand were to stay together and they tried to add this other couple and make it a throuple or a quadruplet or whatever, it would be really weird to like, because Rand and Egwene have been together since they were kids. They've been fucking since high school now. For them to like be like, hey, the dragon and I saw you from across the bar and we like your vibe. Like, it would be weird.
Yeah.
So now the show completely unnecessarily has to break them up. when they weren't together.
What's gonna happen is that Egwene is gonna stay with the wise ones, and they're gonna separate. Like it's gonna have to be this.
But the show,
thing,
here's the thing, the show didn't need to spend time on this. No. And now the show has to spend time on this. Right?
True.
If they just had not... All you had to do in episode 1 is have Rand and Egwene have a moment where they acknowledge that they have changed and they're not kids anymore and they're not together.
Yeah.
It could have been shorter than any of the scenes they have together in episode 1 to just acknowledge, or don't even have them acknowledge it. Have a scene where they have an awkward look and Perrin and Matt acknowledge that things are different now that Egwene and Rand just aren't the same.
Yeah.
Full book spoilers out loud.
Yes.
You don't need to, the show has limited time, and to add this relationship into season 3 has been so weird to me.
I don't understand the point of it.
Because now Rand can't start flirting with Aviendha until
Avienda's already, well, I don't know, kind of. I feel like right at the very end there was a bit of a flirt, and that was it.
Samantha says, Nerdy, what do you think will be the reason they break up in the show? Because of whatever Egwene saw in the... Oh, no, she doesn't go through Ruidan.
No, I think it's going to be the wise ones are going to be like, you can do the Teleranriad, you have to stay with us. And Rand is not going to be able to. Right? Rand is going to have to go do Kalendor shit.
Jason Farley says they did have Egwene and Elaine have their odd thing over Rand in the books. Yeah, 100%. But Egwene hadn't fucked Rand in the books. So they hadn't been sleeping together for fucking years. It is just you can't do that thing now because
They could have just not worried about it, but now they have to worry about it, weirdly enough. Joe, I thank you for that super chat. Egwene will become a competent dreamwalker, find out about Lanfear, and break with Rand. Oh,
that sounds so cringy.
You think Egwene is going to be like,
cringy.
You fucked the Forsaken. We can't be together. Oh, I hope it's not that. I appreciate your super chat, but I hope to God.
But I also think you're right. It's going to be something dumb and dramatic like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something dumb and dramatic like that.
It might be.
Oh, no.
Arizu, thank you for that super chat. Wise ones, your paths do not align. Me, see, even they're saying it. That's why I think it's going to be the wise ones saying, you have to stay here with us. We need to teach you. And so I think, and I think that they're going to be like, you can't fucking date the Karakarn. You're going to have to choose. And Egwene is going to choose to try and do the right thing for the world as opposed to following her heart.
But this is... They've already shown in the trailers that Egwene finds out about Lanfear's sexy time. No. Oh, God. I'm gonna hate that.
That feels very cringe. Oh, no.
I'm gonna fucking hate that.
The trailer had her saying, do you love her? I don't know who else she'd be talking about. Aviendha.
It should be Elaine.
It should be.
But they've had one conversation, and it was a political conversation about how the throne of Andor will stand behind him.
And the moment where he's like, who are you? And she's like, I'm Elaine.
Because the problem with the book skipping over the book, at the end of book 3 and the beginning of book 4, is that, by the time Rand leaves for this, him and Elaine have been making out. Him and Elaine have more of a relationship at this point than him and Egwene in the books ever did. Right? Mm-hmm. They've been making out in hallways for a month and a half or whatever in the Stone of Tyr. And so by skipping that completely and still having Egwene have this relationship, when do you start the relationship with Elaine? How do you, when are they ever in the same city again? Right? Because Elaine's going to have to do...
Tyr?
No, because Elaine doesn't go to Tyr.
Yeah.
No, Elaine's going to have to go to Abu Dar. Or unless they cut Abu Dar, which is possible. But then, where do you... But if you cut Abu Dar...
I said I can make it rain. They don't need the Bowl of Winds.
Well, no. They need the Bowl of Winds to change the crazy weather pattern. They can always make it rain. But, Rand and Elaine in the Stone was 4 days, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's longer than that between books. I think, weeks pass between those two books. Filiaged. Zedorog says Rand starts a relationship with Avi, and Avi says not without Elaine. But does Aviendha care about it? They fucked one time.
Yeah.
They don't have a relationship. They've just had sex.
They like each other, at least. It doesn't...
Sure, but in this show, having sex with somebody one time doesn't mean anything, because everybody fucks everybody.
I feel like it's because
Lan fucked Nynaeve before they got married, which is still the craziest thing in the world to me. But
yeah. I feel like Elaine. I feel like Elaine fucked Avienda because like she kind of, her chances to have sex are few and far between because she can't have sex with a man in case she gets pregnant. So she's like, you know what? It's gonna be women only for now. You know, I can't risk it.
I don't know though. She doesn't have to get married. Like she just needs kids. So it doesn't really matter if she gets pregnant or not.
I don't know if you're gonna have a baby at the White Tower.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's actually a thing that I'm not 100% sure on.
But like because of the matrilineal sort of nature of their ancestor or their throne, getting married doesn't actually matter in Andor, right?
Yeah. Jason, I also agree that the Bowl of Winds is gone. I think that showing the famine on such a large scale in the world, the show is already not great at portraying scale, but also portraying the vibe of the people around.
I say it's bad at scale. Look, I want to be really clear. The scale of the vistas in the Rand and Moraine stuff has been fucking incredible. Ruidan looked unreal.
Yes, 100%.
The thumbnail of this video, Ruidan looked fucking unreal.
100%. Yes. But I think that the Bowl of Winds is gone because if they can't even portray an unrest in a city after like a fight in the streets, I don't know if the show is going to bother focusing on how bad the trade is and getting like food and that kind of thing until maybe like way later at the end when they have to
they'll
when
only
they
do
fix
it once.
the like grain.
Yeah.
Right? Like Rand I think will have his Jesus moment with the grain, but I don't think that it's going to be a long-term like starvation, get the bowl, that kind of thing. Are the sea folk gone? Yeah, maybe.
Here's the thing, if you don't do the Bowl of Winds, where does Matt meet Tuon?
Could be any.
Who, I don't know if you guys know this, is black.
I think they know.
Yeah, I didn't. There are sea folk cast?
Oh, okay.
For what part of this book?
Graham is like, I hope the sea folk are gone. Look, they're not my favorite either. The sea folk are also cut. Okay, some people are saying that they're cast and some people are saying cut. I don't know.
Sea folk are confirmed. No. I know that they're confirmed because I know that Rafe posted an Instagram post about sitting on vacation writing about the sea folk. I know they're in it because Rafe posted that on Instagram at one point.
Sure. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. No. I have like big questions about. I have big questions about where we go from here because like. Cut the circus, cut Ibudar, cut Pat and Fane, condense Elaine succession. Why do the Wheel of Time? This is why
the circus can be cut. I want to be very clear.
But here's my point. Like at the point where you're saying cut the circus, cut Ibudar, cut Pat and Fane, when people get mad at me,
doesn't go anywhere at the end of the series.
Okay, though. But when people get mad at me for saying that they're adapting the show like a 2000s fantasy adaptation where they're just taking events but it's just cutting and cutting and cutting to the point where like you're not really doing it.
Yeah.
And then people are like, no, you're wrong. But I also think that we need to cut this. People are literally being like, no, they are adapting it. This is the Wheel of Time. I also think that they need to cut this in order for them to do it. Yeah. I'm right. You're just upset because you think that I'm saying the show's bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm right. They're adapting the show in events only. That doesn't mean the show's bad.
They can't keep everything.
But we're not. But like at the point where
I think Ibudar does
all the relationships are different.
Though.
Everybody's fucked. Someone was like, "Is the igloo scene gonna happen?" How? Rand's already fucking. You can't do the like virgin loses his virginity in a way that he regrets because he's not a virgin.
I mean, I don't think that the scene's gonna have the same connotations to it, but I think that absolutely, he could be like flirting with Avienda, but also scared because he knows he's gonna go mad.
He's so scared of flirting with a woman that he magically teleports to the other side of the world.
Yeah, because he starts losing it.
He's fucked a Forsaken for
but
months.
I think
he's not gonna get
No,
fucking,
it's not about the fucking.
No,
it's not. It's not about the fucking. It's about. They've kind of, I think, set it up with Egwene and Rand's relationship, where Egwene has this, like, fear because of Rhaena, right? Not because of Rand. But Rand will get to the point of being worried about the safety of the people around him. And so Avienda getting closer to him is scary, right? And so Avienda...
Oh, no, Avienda opens the teleporter. Yeah. But right, Avienda is the one that opens the way gate. That's true.
Yeah.
But if she's fucking... What is she so scared of? Here's the thing: Avienda won't have the impetus of your lanes because that doesn't fucking exist. The igloo scene will just if they do the igloo scene, right, it'll be because they wanted to do the igloo scene, not because of why the igloo scene happens in the books.
No, you're right. I think igloo might be cut.
Which is why it's just a different adaptation.
No, I think it might be cut. Yeah.
Light Blinded Fool is I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you out like this, but like this is the exact point that I'm making. They say, I don't think it's a fair argument to say the show's bad because they're cutting things when the books are impossibly long to adapt in 8 seasons.
We're not saying
that's not what I'm saying.
Bad because things are cut.
I am saying
that's what we're saying.
This show is not adapting the books.
Yeah.
Faithfully. That doesn't mean that it is bad.
Yeah.
It just isn't faithful.
It's
not trying to be faithful.
The reasons we don't like it and the things that we think are bad because they're not good, not because they are cutting things, not because it can't be adapted one-to-one. But this could never be adapted one-to-one.
I mean, it could. It just...
If you animated it, maybe. Or you had all of the money in the world. Like, if Elon Musk himself funded this, maybe.
But they're not even coming close, in my opinion. I don't mind that. I think that the 3rd season's good. But I also don't think it's a very close adaptation. Yeah.
Jaren says Igloo would be pointless use of production assets. And I kind of am feeling, having talked about it for a minute now, I kind of do feel like,
what are you doing there? It's a sex scene.
The igloo doesn't actually matter. And so, maybe I think cut it and put that money somewhere else.
It's fun. It's fun because it's the first hint of Shara, which comes back at the end of the books. But I honestly think they might cut Shara. Yeah, because they teleport to Shara, right?
I thought they teleported to the fucking uninhabited mountains and then the Rockin' flyover.
Isn't it Shara where they teleport? Doesn't the igloo happen? Or no, it's the Sanchin. No, you're right, because they see the dragons.
They see the Rockin'.
Yeah.
The Rockin' roller coaster.
Aerosmith's Rockin' roller coaster.
Yeah.
A joke 4 years old that it's still funny to both of us.
Phyllis brings up that maybe it is emotionally tumultuous because Avienda believes that she is Elaine's, not that Rand is Elaine's, and she feels conflicted having feelings for multiple people.
Yeah, but then you still can't do them fucking, because then it's super weird that she does it even though she thinks she's cheating on Elaine.
But then also,
that's weird.
The Aiel are polyamorous.
Yeah, they clearly don't care. They're fucking in the sweat tent.
They're fucking in the sweat tent, but also we know that Ruark has multiple wives, and multiple wives is kind of normal for their society. So, Shara is gonna be cut.
No, I think that if Avienda's reasoning for getting to the igloo is that she is so emotional because she feels like she's cheating on Elaine, if they then get to the igloo and then have sex, it's super weird because she's there thinking that she's thinking she's cheating. In order for it to be emotional enough,
she is
to
thinking
justify
that he is cheating in the book. So
sure, but she's the one running away, and he's the one who's riddled with guilt after. But you can't do any of it. It's a completely different thing. It is different. You would have to write yourself into getting there in a completely different way, and the characters have to respond to it in another completely different way. Yeah. It just can't be...
Which is why it's different. And
they can have sex in an igloo. Yeah. It just can't be related to why they have sex in an igloo or how they feel afterwards at all.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by they're adapting the events, but they're not adapting the why.
It is one of those weird things where I am actually... Now that I've seen what they can do with these first couple episodes of season 3, I'm actually quite interested to see what their plan is and where they take things, but it is not the Wheel of Time, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be.
Yes.
But just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad, but it can still be bad, even if it's different.
It can be bad and different. Just the Wheel of Time books, some of them are bad.
Yeah.
Look, I'm defending the book 4 because it's my favorite book.
Yes.
And so when we get to them adapt... Look, I'm not going to lie, guys. If this show gets to season 6 and we're adapting the Crossroads of Twilight, you won't hear a peep from me about them changing...
No, we're gonna
Winter's Heart. We're
skipping. We're skipping a whole book. We are literally jumping to fucking Gathering Storm.
I want to be really clear. They can change from Crown of Swords to no, not Gathering Storm. There's some really good stuff in the book before that. Robert Jordan's last book.
Towers of Midnight? Is that the last one?
Towers of Midnight.
Is it?
No, that's the penultimate book.
That is? Oh, fuck.
Brandon wrote Towers of Midnight.
Did he?
What's the book that we're forgetting?
Damn it.
It goes Crossroads of Twilight.
Winter's Heart?
No, Winter's Heart is 9. Knife of Dreams.
That's the one. Knife of Daggers. That's it. Yeah.
Knife of Daggers. God, memories. Memory. Back when we did this book
Path
club.
of Knives. Yeah.
Paths of Knives. They can change whatever the fuck they want from about Crown of Swords to Knife of Dreams. And you will not pop into one reaction where I go, well, in the books, I don't give a fuck about those books. They're not good. Some of them are fine.
Look, okay.
But they're not good.
There are good things within them, but as...
Sure, but you can change all of it. I don't give a shit. Rewrite it.
Sure.
I love this book. The Shadow Rising is one of my favorite fantasy books of all time. Mm-hmm. This book is a banger. And so I will be upset when they change the things that are in this book because it was good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, once we get past book 6, I don't care what they adapt. Yeah. I care about the first 6 books.
Yeah. I honestly hope that Crossroads of Twilight is like a 6-minute montage. And then that's it. That's fucking it. That's all that we get. And they're like, look, we understand. Don't worry about it. I hope that that's what it is.
This is how you adapt Crossroads of Twilight for the show. Uh-huh. Rafe, I'll write it for you. The entire book, Crossroads of Twilight. Uh-huh. And you might think, oh, is this going to be a fucking 8 episode? No. The end of episode 7 of season 6 of this show, Rand cleanses the taint with Nynaeve. Mm-hmm. Right? And then...
banger. That's going to be banger.
As the credits roll, over the credits, while the credits roll across the screen, you cut to the various other characters in the series. Looking up and going, something just happened. Yeah. Far away, something just happened. And over again, throughout the entirety of the show, you show every character in the world going, something just happened, something just happened, something just happened. And then when episode 8 starts, you have successfully adapted the entirety of Crossroads of Twilight into about 45 seconds of credits.
It's beautiful.
And the audience hasn't missed a goddamn thing.
It's perfect. I love it. 10 out of 10. No notes. Light Blindfold, thank you for that super chat. I agree they made some bad changes. I think they need to change a lot to hit the main points of the story and get from one to the next. Yeah, I love the off-page scenes we get, and some changes are good. There's definitely things, that I think that they have nailed, or that I'm really interested to see where they take it, for sure. And that's the thing, is I don't want to, I'm not going into this being like, the show has been fucking trash until this point, because it hasn't been. There is stuff from season 1 that I really like. Yeah. There is stuff from season 2 that I really like. What was it? Episode 5, 6, I think, in there. There were moments where I was like, okay.
The Egwene stuff with Ascension is well done.
It is well done. It's hard to watch, but it is so well done. Yeah. But now seeing this in season 3, seeing the possibilities, seeing where that they're raising the bar for themselves, that's what makes me excited. And I genuinely... season 2, I was like, I'm a little nervous to sit down and watch this and react to it because I don't know how I'm going to feel. But I'm so excited for episode 5 because of what they've shown me is possible.
And because the season has rocked so far, right? Yeah. And I like a lot of the new people. I do. I think the casting for Fael's great. Yeah. I don't think... I'm worried their relationship won't be far enough along by episode 7 for it to have the hit that it has in the books.
Maybe, yeah.
I think that when season 4 starts and Fael is the lady of Emmons Field, it's gonna feel real weird because they've had 2 conversations that weren't even that flirtatious.
Yeah. I mean, she kind of looks like she's like, but...
Yeah, but she thinks he's hot, but after she returns and saves the day, right? And she has her Gandalf moment, she's they get married.
What?
And it's pretty justified. If they get married at the end of episode 7, it's gonna feel insane.
Fair.
And this isn't even they get forced to get married because they have sex and then they have to get married. Mm-hmm. Because Perrin's a widow in this town. That would feel weird. Yeah. And so the her showing up for him will just mean something different. And it is so beautiful in the books. It is. It's one of the few times reading those books I cried. Yeah. Was the end of that chapter, right? Yeah. And so I think that that is an element of it that I wish. I just wish they'd introduced her earlier. I get that, like, because I get why they waited on some level, but, like, I don't know. Her and Perrin, there's no time for Fael to become anything to him in 2 episodes of TV.
Yeah.
If he says that he loves her in the next 2 episodes of TV, it's going to be real weird.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, they are setting it up, right? With him, like, his ring getting cut off and him burying it.
Yeah, but, like, him getting married a month later to a woman he just met is, like...
No, and I don't know how exactly they're going to handle it, but it is, yeah.
I know, there's a lot of, like... One of the things the show isn't going to be able to do that really is going to be kind of a miss on what the Wheel of Time is on the whole. Mm-hmm. And why I think that the show will be remembered as a fairly surface level adaptation is that I don't know that they can do the town adjusting and changing over time.
Yeah.
Like, one of the most beautiful things about the next section of Perrin's story is how he watches over Emond's Field as it kind of begins to grow back into being Manetheren.
Yeah.
And how he, like, kind of steers the path for this town as it becomes that.
Yeah.
And that is going to be... I think that's going to just be one of the things that, like, is... those larger elements and those bigger themes of Robert Jordan's world will just kind of be missing.
Yeah.
And so we are going to get the events. We're just not getting, we're not getting the other stuff.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. It just is. But, like, I think those things are just as important to Robert Jordan's world as everything else. And yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Gunnar Stahl says, pretty sure the relationships will take longer and be more realistic. I don't know how you can say that after Elaine and Avienda have sex immediately upon meeting each other.
They're not married.
No,
people fuck after meeting all the time. People fuck without meeting.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying the show hasn't shown me that it takes time with those things. Or that they're more realistic. The show is like, these 2 people together. These 2 people fucking. Lan and Nynaeve fucking immediately. Like, the show's version of relationships is 2 people like each other, they start fucking immediately, and they're together.
What life is kind of like.
But that isn't the Wheel of Time.
For sure. But that's why we're not doing the Wheel of Time. Like, I don't think they're getting married.
Gunnar Stahl says, pretty sure the relationships will take longer. Yeah. That's not what the show has done ever.
I mean, no one's married yet.
I'm sure they're not married, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not going to get married in this season.
Maybe, yeah. Arzu says that's kind of true to RJ's writing. No, it isn't. What are you guys talking about? Rand doesn't fuck someone until Fires of Heaven. Perrin's a virgin until he marries Fael. These characters are all virgins in the books. Yeah, but they
all instantly fall in love. Not even fuck. They instantly are like... Damn! Like,
Sure. I guess that's true. But the idea that it's going to be more realistic and take longer when the show has been like, no, they're together. That everyone's just together immediately. And fucking... It's not...
I think the only thing that the show has added is that they also have sex. But I think that, like, it is pretty true to these 2 characters meet and they are suddenly in love. Like, Elaine and Rand's like, who are you? And Elaine's like, I'm Elaine. And it's like, love, instantly. And the same thing with Lan and Nynaeve. The moment they fucking meet each other, she's antagonistic.
I mean, no, they're not together until they're at the Eye of the World. Like, that, all that stuff happens at the Eye of the World. Or when they're in the, not the waste, what's it called up there? The, What is it around the Eye of the World? What is that shit called? Not the Ruin. I have too many fucking fantasy things in my head.
Oh, I don't know. The Blight. Yeah, but that's still in the first book. I don't know. To me, it is very on brand for the Wheel of Time books and show for 2 people to meet and be like, nice.
Yeah, I guess. Perrin and Fael didn't get together immediately, though.
But
But yeah, no, it did move fast, and we did complain about that. So it is fair that we did complain about that. I just think that, like, the idea that it's going to take longer and be more realistic isn't how I feel about the show's version of romance. I think that it takes about the same amount of time. Maybe it's more realistic because they fuck faster, and that's more realistic to our time. But I don't think I think that, like, all of these relationships just being like, these 2 are together in the books, and so they're fucking immediately is really fast.
Yeah.
I think it's just fast. That's all. Yeah. And I think that, like, the sexual politics of the book of the world of the books is gone, and there are no sexual politics. There's not really gender politics in the show. Like a lot of that stuff has just kind of been cut. There's a lot of women in the show who are well written, but
basically, the women are in charge, and that's kind of.
And maybe the show will like Leandrin kind of has a scene in season 1 where she like complains about sexism, and she's like, they think women have the power, but men have all the power. But the show hasn't shown that ever. Leandrin has one scene where she's talking to.
I think she's just referencing her being a child bride.
Leandrin has.
I agree. The sexual politics were kind of unnecessary. Like the whole fucking Perrin, Fael, and Berlane shit. I was like, this is so cringy.
That's not what I mean when I say sexual politics, though. I mean that like in kind of more in human history. Now we live in this time of sexual liberation, but there have been ways in which sexuality has been used against people and kept people in boxes, or been like, I think that Gawain and Galad fucking in the White Tower would have been more of a commentary on their freedom as princes that other people don't have if the show limited anybody else with anything. But because the show doesn't do that and everybody's fucking, Gawain and Galad fucking in the White Tower is just kind of normal. That's just kind of the average of this world, right? As opposed to them getting to be outliers, which is what it was for princes throughout like history, right? For nobles, they were allowed to do things like that, and they were outside of the norm because of that. But
I don't know. I feel like poor people were fucking because what else did they have?
Well, no, but having sex outside of marriage was wildly dangerous, because if you got pregnant, like, you could ruin your life. You could ruin your relationship to the town.
Sorry, men were fucking.
Sure. But, like, having sex meant something. Before birth control, having sex meant a lot of things, right? And I think that, there's an element of that is missing in this show. In that, because sex is so free and everyone's fucking... Like, the fact that Nynaeve hasn't gotten pregnant is kind of miraculous.
Why? It's fantasy. There's a T somewhere.
Sure. Yeah, and maybe they do have birth control, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've got magic. Yeah. We're past the 2 hour mark.
I know.
So I wanted to just turn to chat and ask if there was anything...
Was this conversation interesting?
To touch on. We didn't actually touch on Ruidan spoilers at all.
Let's talk about Ruidan spoilers. I wish we'd seen the beginning of the Maidens of the Spear. I think that was a big miss. Yeah,
and I think that you were right that there should have been like Ogier in the final.
Because it ties the Aiel or the Tuatha on and the Ogier together.
Yeah.
I think that was a miss.
Other than that, I think that they nailed it pretty damn hard.
Yeah, no, other than that, I do think, like, there are elements of it that, I like the split between this three-way split of the Aiel being a three-way split instead of just a two-way split where the Aiel and the Tuatha on...
Sorry, what?
Because if I'm remembering the books right, there's the Aiel, the Tuatha on, and the, like, true Aiel, right? And then that kind of is what devolves into the Tuatha on and the Aiel. But there is still sort of there's the Aiel who become the Travelers, who we kind of see it in the show, but we don't really see it. Because the people who leave them don't... The show doesn't really explain why they forget who they are, I guess is what's weird about it, right? And... Yeah, so I think that could have been a little clearer. How, like, that they kind of schism into 3 different things, and then one of those things gets fully lost. We got Gaishan. I didn't think they were going to do Gaishan or whatever it was.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they did it. Their explanation for it was very weird to me. And I don't know that it makes a lot of sense.
They literally said if you're defeated in battle.
No. That's not what they said.
Yeah.
No. They did not say if you defeat someone in battle. If you touch someone in battle without hurting them, they become Gaishan.
Hurting them. No, that's not what they said.
That is literally the text from the episode.
They did not say if you touch someone without hurting them.
Yes, they did. That was the exact dialogue.
So what? They go like boop, and then you're
Gaishan.
What? No, that is not.
But that was that's why I thought it was weird, was because that was the dialogue they used. It wasn't about like beating someone in battle. If you touch someone while unarmed.
Yeah, touch is like injure them. If you touch, if you injure someone.
No. No, I think the dialogue they used was weird. No, I feel like she said if you touch them without harming them, you like.
If you touch them without harming them, there's literally no like without killing them.
But like then Lan and Avienda fight, and they touch each other multiple times without harming each other.
Yeah, but they're not in war.
Yes, but there's a lot of ways in which the grappling of fighting.
Yeah, it's if you touch them in battle, if you injure them and they're not dead. Like if you are defeated but don't die.
I need to watch it again. The dialogue of it was confusing to me.
There was a. Can we scroll back up?
Titan says no. It's touching them without hurting them, kind of like you don't even deserve me to hurt you. It's too easy, right? But the language of if you touch them without hurting them, but like the number of times where you might need to like get a shove in or something is. I don't remember it being that arbitrary. Josh Timko, thank you for that, for joining the Nerds Radiant. Welcome back.
Yeah.
I guess it's Nargs of the Nerd Table today.
I guess, yeah, today it's Nargs.
Episode 4 having its intro arbitrarily after like 10 scenes. On the one hand, I was like, why? But it's also very much giving like true Wheel of Time prologue. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I dug not having the full song there too.
Yeah.
The choice to have it just be the quick thing.
I was kind of into it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think the number of times in a fight where you might lose your spear and then like push off in a moment to get your spear back isn't winning to me. But that's neither here nor there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Questions you guys have for us about the Ruidan stuff, because we're gonna wrap up soon here.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I had a blast.
Good. Yeah, we can't. We unfortunately just can't stay that much longer. So if you have any specific things you want to touch on for chat, let us know.
Maybe that's what it is. I agree with Wheel of Time, or with Nad and Bertrand. I would say it's more weird they skip the other ways to become Gaishan. Maybe that's why it felt weird. Was they were like, there's this one arbitrary way that you become this thing for a year.
Yeah. Arzu, what are the chances we get the Wolf Dreams next episode?
I hope not. I fucking hate the Wolf Dreams. Or they fixed it from season 2.
That's the thing is, unfortunately, I don't like the wolf stuff that much for how the show has done it. I hope that they adjust that or they cut it, but I don't know if they can cut it. I didn't like the way. There's a few visuals in the show that I think are very goofy, and that was one of them, and I would be fine with that not coming back. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that, like, the Wolf Dream just becomes basically like Tel'aran'rhiod, like Egwene was in.
Oh, sorry, no, the Wolf Dream. I would be more down for the Wolf Dreams. I hope we don't get any more of the, like, wolf communications. Sorry, I do think Wolf Dream's fine. I don't need any more of the floaty chat. No, I do think we'll get Wolf Dream, because I think that Luke has to hunt the wolves, right? I think we have to start seeing that.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think that kind of has to be part of it, otherwise they wouldn't introduce Lord Luke, that's kind of his whole thing. Right? How did you like that view of the boar and the representation of the Dark One?
It's a great visual.
Stunning.
Yeah, it's an incredible visual.
Stunning.
I thought they crushed.
I think like all the visuals.
Destiny 1 visuals.
Yeah, all of the visuals in those flashbacks were.
The makeup team deserves so much praise.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I do wish that there had been more like wagons, like the Aiel.
What do you mean? There was 1,000 wagons that took off. They were going in every
direction.
direction.
The first time there's 10,000 of them, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then every time we see wagons together, it's like 4 of them.
Oh,
like the communities of the Tuatha'an / Aiel seem very small in scale. But the scenes all take place in one spot, so I think it's just maybe that we don't see the others.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I did like the boar a lot. I think it was cool. I hope that we get something like that for the end of the show if they get that far.
Yeah.
Jason Farley says, "Do you think show only fans will like Fail?" Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah, I don't.
Without the like abusive element of their relationship, I think that it would be hard to dislike her.
Yeah, because she is a great character. We were just very off-put by her violent tendencies and weird, like...
Well, and Perrin hitting her, too, right? Like, them hitting each other...
She's like, no, you have to hit me so I know that you're passionate. And I'm like, oh, that's trauma.
Yeah,
well,
I just don't think the
show... Trauma.
I don't think the show will bring in that... I don't think the show will do the Bear Lane stuff. And so I think that... I think
she'll be well received.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also actually love that the song... felt very, like, simplistic.
Really? I think they fucked it up.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
I was like, the song... They've put this, like, expectation on the song that it just being, like, a fucking normal, like, shanty or some shit made so much sense to me. I'm like, yeah, they've built this thing up in their heads for so long as this, like, incredible and magical thing. It's a song. It's just a song.
Yeah, no, I think that is mildly interesting, and the more interesting version is that they used to sing a song that made the plants grow, and they don't know the song anymore, and so they don't know...
Well, there were no plants growing, so then maybe it wasn't the song.
But no, I know. But, like, when we see in Ruidan, the song is literally a magic thing that the Ogier, the Green Man, and the people sing together to, like, make the plants grow.
So you think that their working song was not the song?
Well, no, I think it's the show version. Like, I think it's the show version, but, like, the book version being that it's literally this, like, piece of magic that is shared between these races is...
It wasn't a song, it was just a tribute.
Great.
Oh, no.
The only time we get to see the tribute...
That's a joke.
I get that, but this isn't that, right? Like, this is...
I appreciated the tenacious.
This is them again taking something that is a fantasy thing and being like, well, we'll take the fantasy element out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, okay, but like, the show is actually better when you acknowledge that it's a fantasy. Right?
Yeah.
Like, the show is actually more interesting when you lean into that. Lay by End Full says there's no actual song in the books. I understand that there's no, like, single song.
Yeah.
But they remember the song because the singing in the fields was the act of community that, like, magically made the plants grow, right? I understand that it isn't a specific tune that did that, but it was related to this fantastical, like, community thing. Taking that element out of it means that the Tuatha'an are just referencing that people used to sing in the fields, which every culture does. Like, that's not... And I don't think they sang one song all day, every day. That would be fucking insane.
Well, yeah.
Every culture sings in the fields, and everyone has multiple songs.
_ thank you so much for that super chat. I believe it is a reference to the Plains Native Americans war chief requirements. 1, touch an enemy without killing them. 2, take an enemy's weapon. 3, lead a successful war party and survive. 4, steal an enemy horse.
Yeah, for sure. And I think
that checks out.
I think that the show is continuing the trend of having the Aiel be heavily referential towards Native Americans without casting any. For sure. And I think that they've definitely kept that up. Maybe that's a little mean. But even like the like singing the music around the Aiel, sometimes I'm like, most of these people are white.
Avienda's not.
Avienda's not. Savannah's not. But yeah, I do. Yeah, you're right. I understand the reference. I just think that. Yeah, no, I don't know. The Guy Shine thing was fine. It was fine. I heard if you touch someone without harming them, which just seems like there's too many things in combat where that happens. And for some reason, my memory of the books is that it's if you like down someone without harming or like while you're unarmed. And so I think that I heard unharmed and it was unarmed and that was just on me.
Yeah, I would have to go back and actually see what's in the books again because it's been so long.
Lightblind Full says all the cultures in Wheel of Time are mishmashed from real world cultures. There aren't any that are single real world cultures. Sure, but the visuals of the Aiel and the like the sound.
They're all ginger.
Oh no, not their hair. I just mean that there's definitely a like there are some cultures are influenced by single cultures more than others, even though they do bring in other things, is all I'm saying.
All right.
You know, the Aiel lean into the like savage wilderness version of white people looking at Native Americans. It is a trope that isn't real. Like I want to be very clear. I know it's not real, but like it is. They come from that sort of starting place, and there are things that change them on top of that. But the root of them as a culture within this story leans heavily on the like fear of the indigenous people that comes from early settler colonial views of Native Americans. There's a lot of that in there. And honestly, it's the same fear that you see in a lot of cultures worldwide, right? Is that sort of like the savage who's too connected to the land and isn't embracing our technological ways. And
I don't really get that from the Aiel. I'm kind of with Ilshwam. I definitely thought the Aiel were more influenced by like hyper like hyper honor specific like war like battle, like they have this culture around what it means to fight and how to do that, and the like hyper specific ways with the Ji'ito and all of that. I when I read the books, I'm not gonna lie, the Aiel I did not think reminded me of Native Americans personally.
Sure.
But
okay.
Yeah, I do agree that it is that things are kind of like mishmashed, like what Light Blinded Fool says.
I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. I believe that the show will dig deeper into the intricacies of Aiel culture going forward. I hope so. I really hope so. I like the Aiel so far. I do. I think they're interesting. I think that I don't know that they're doing the best job of making them seem capable. Like the Aiel in the books sort of show up and they're like so damn good at shit that it's like shocking, right? One of the scenes in episode 4, and we all laughed at it, right? I'm sure people at home laughed at it, is when they run up that hill and then the Shido, the cut to the Shido being like 20 feet away was one of the weirdest choices.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was so funny. And like I love the episode. I don't even mind the moment that much. But the Aiel just seem a little bit less like aware than I feel like they should.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the Aiel have really had a chance to show their competence. I think that every time Bane and Chiad have fought, they've kicked fucking ass. I think every time that Avienda has fought, she's kicked ass. And so in terms of their military prowess, which is the one thing that they are renowned for, I think that they have held fast to that. They're good at that. They're real good at that.
Yes, yeah. But what scares me about the Aiel isn't their, like, I wouldn't even call it military prowess, right? Like, they're not in a great army.
Yeah, that's
their
the
advantage
whole point of them,
is
I thought.
No. They're not like they're not like form ranks fighting. The advantage of the Aiel is their scouting is incredible. Their ability to move without being seen is incredible. Their ability to like get into position around you is superior to you.
That's
right?
why the Shido popped out of nowhere.
Sure, but the fact that neither the Shido nor them had advanced scouts to me was just very odd. Headed towards Ruidan, where you like know there are gonna be people, you would want to know who's there.
I'm assuming they popped out because they knew they were coming and they were hiding because the scouts told them.
Yeah, I just think there's a way. I think there was a way that they could have shown that without them being like, Shido, cut to, they're right there. Like, they were within bow range.
I don't think that it was well done, but I definitely don't think that the Aiel are being portrayed in any way incompetent. I think they're really good at what they do.
I'm not saying that they're being portrayed as incompetent. I'm saying they feel like an adjacent culture that is on par with the best of what we've seen from Wetlanders.
Okay.
And in the books, when they show up, there is a point in those books where you're like, fuck, I think the Aiel could kill everybody. And I don't think that I've gotten that from the show.
Well, we've only seen like 6 of them. We haven't actually gone to I don't know if we'll go to Cold Rock's Hold. But yeah, we haven't actually seen the Aiel in all their glory.
No, for sure.
Because they
That
are
scene-
able to overwhelm because of numbers for sure.
I've given the show a lot of leeway in this season about the numbers, right? I think that they're doing better with the extras.
Yeah.
If the fucking rain scene is not people as far as the eye can see, some of these scenes are a little light on people. And
that one has to be.
That scene has to be the when they go to the golden. Is it called the Golden Bowl or what is that?
The Golden Bowl, is that it? No.
It's something. It is a bowl, right?
Oh my god, I don't remember what that is called. Chat will know. They'll tell us in like 4 seconds.
Underscore says, I was confused about the ambush traveler caravan that we rushed away from, but at the same time stayed behind to bury. I didn't. Al-Khair Dal. Yeah. That scene better have thousands of people. It better be, and I know it's all going to be CGI, and that's fine. It just, CGI in as many people as possible.
We need the scale of there being hundreds of thousands of people.
Underscore makes a really interesting point here. The Traveler Caravan being burned was odd. And the Golden Bowl is the correct name. Fuck no, yeah.
I completely
I remember
forgot.
shit. You forgot that he fights Asmodean in Ruidan at the end of the book. You were like, what are you talking about? In the reaction?
Yeah.
That's funny. I really hope that I hope the Traveler Caravan has a purpose. I thought it was going to be so that we would then meet I thought we were going to meet
well, the point was for them to be like Shido.
I guess
to be like Shido bad. Like the point of the caravan was for them to be like Shido bad.
But don't we see the Shido kind of become bad after this? I thought the Shido were sucked. I know they sucked.
They have a blood feud.
Yes. But I don't think I don't remember the Shido being introduced as they're so bad that they would kill travelers. That they would kill the Tuatha.
I mean, they literally have no honor. That's their whole point. Is that they actually don't even follow their Aiel ways. They are so like unhonorable people.
Yeah, I thought even killing the Tuatha would have been beneath them, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I think the caravan is there, is to be like Shido bad.
Yeah, because how do you show... Here's the thing. Yes. The show version of it has to do that because you can't just explain it. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Has to be very simple and straightforward, and that was the entire purpose of that moment, and that's it.
Nathan Bertrand says there's a theory that Rand versus Asmodean will be replaced with Moraine versus Lanfear. I mean, that makes sense. That's the show has typically taken away everything that Rand does at the end of a season and given it to a woman. So,
I would like, honestly, Moraine to continue to do less. Like, I feel like in the last couple episodes, she hasn't done much except, gone to Ruidan. And I think that is more along the lines of her character.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I love that theory, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. That was mostly a joke, but, like, the end of season 1... Rand is supposed to come into the hole, stop the Trollocs. It was 5 women. The end of season 2, Rand does fight. Rand does walk his sword into Asmodean. Like he does.
Ishamael.
Sorry, Ishamael. He does very slowly walk his sword into Ishamael. Which season 3 is like, but the paintings made it seem like it was a really cool fight. And I was like, I've watched it a few times now. It's really not that cool a fight. Ishamael just stands there and shoots little sparklers at them until he dies. It's not great. I really hope they just let Rand have the end of this season.
Yeah.
Because for fucking Christ's sake, if Moraine fights Lanfear and Rand just watches, oh boy.
I'm not gonna love that, but.
Yeah. But I mean, Rand doesn't have to fight Asmodean though. Like if Rand has a sick battle with Couladin or something. But, like, here's the thing. And this is where the show fucking with the timeline is so weird. If Rand is capable of fighting Couladin at this point, because Lan has given him, like, a week's worth of lessons, that again diminishes the Aiel. In the book version, Rand is already, like, Rand's already beaten a Blade Master at this point with a sword. And so, like, he's technically earned his Blade Master status in the books at this point. Show Rand has like never been in a sword fight.
Yeah, because they cut the fight with him and
because he uses the one power instead.
Yeah.
They just skip it and he uses the one power.
Yeah.
If Rand were to fight Couladin right now, he should be dog walked. He should get Shido dog walked by him. Because that is a trained warrior against a guy who has trained in the forms a little bit.
Yeah, no, we know in the books Matt kills Couladin. We're trying to understand how the end of this season might give Rand something to do if Lanfear and Moraine are the two that fight.
I just think they're going to cut the Shido from future. Like, I think the Shido will end.
Shido will get to Dumai's Wells and then they'll be done. There's going to be no Fael bullshit running around.
Dumai's Wells. I was saying they're going to get done at Kyrian, but Savannah needs...
They're going to get... They're after Dumai's Wells, I think they're going to be done for sure.
How do you do Dumai's Wells?
I don't know, but we don't have time to speculate that.
Sorry, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. I'm so sorry. I'm having so much fun. And
so am I.
No, I know. We gotta get out of here. I don't think Couladin will get killed. I'm just saying they could have an interesting fight.
Yeah.
And maybe Couladin wins. I don't know. Maybe that's how he convinces the Shido that... Anyway. Y'all,
maybe.
Thank you for a great live stream. Claris wanted this to be an hour long. I'm so sorry. Can I just say publicly that I apologize?
There's no reason to apologize. I was like, yeah, we'll just like kind of chat about a couple points and get out. I didn't realize that people would be so excited for the stream.
Maybe we should just go live more.
Who was gonna be here? Yeah, it was really nice. It was cool.
Starting in
having
May,
this dialogue with you guys.
Starting in May, we want to go live more. So, God, I wish we were here for the end of Wheel of Time.
Well, here's the thing. I think that depending, if we for some reason hate the rest of the season, that'll be something. But
I'd be very surprised at this point.
I'd be very surprised. But so we're gonna be in Japan when the finale of this show drops, which is a little bit unfortunate. But we are gonna be in Japan, so I can't really be too upset about it. If somehow we are in a place with stable enough Wi-Fi that we think that we can do a stream, I think that we will. Because I think that it will be really fun to chat about how things unfolded and what is next. However, that being said, I've never been to Japan. You have. The Wi-Fi situation totally and completely up in the air.
Yeah.
So we're not guaranteeing anything, but we would like to do this for after the finale, maybe. Maybe it's when we get back.
That might be first week of May.
I don't know.
But we might have to schedule like 6 hours, babe. Like,
we'll see.
We barely got to anything I wanted to talk about.
Great. Well,
There's so much more. Like, and honestly, I feel like unfortunately we talked about mostly the complaints that we had in this, and like I want people to know I really like 2 through 4 of this season. I really do. I think the show is getting better every episode.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now where like I'm genuinely like I would be surprised if the rest of the season was a letdown.
Oh yeah.
I think there might be choices that I really dislike. But I think that the quality of the way information is being presented is so much higher than previous seasons. So, like, I might not like the rest of this season on a personal level, but I will be surprised if I think that it is poorly made.
Yeah, no, technically they've really stepped up their game.
And I think the finales of season 1 and season 2 are poorly made.
Yeah.
And they have won me over to the point where, like, I will be surprised if it, like, completely just is shambles after this.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been. It's been good.
Yeah. In terms of for the Wi-Fi, we just don't know where we're staying yet. And sometimes you get to a hotel and it has great Wi-Fi, and sometimes you get to a hotel and it has bad Wi-Fi, and we can't really know that beforehand. That's all I mean. Like it's not Japan.
No.
It just depends. It's more that we will be
Wi-Fi.
traveling, and the hotel Wi-Fi will be whatever the fuck it's gonna be.
And sometimes literally like. We've done this enough from hotels now where it's like some hotels, the Wi-Fi on floor 3 is amazing and on floor 8 is garbage.
Yeah.
Right?
So...
And so I think that it's also a lot of hotels prioritize download speed Wi-Fi. So like everyone can watch Netflix but not upload, which is what we need.
Yeah.
And getting a hotel room with good upload speed to live stream can be really hard.
Yeah. We're going to be in a bunch of different places actually. We're going to go to Osaka. We're going to see Nara. We're going to be in Tokyo for a big chunk there in the middle. Kagoshima, Hiroshima. And
that's it.
We maybe we'll do a day trip to Kyoto, but yeah, we're gonna be around a lot of places.
All right, y'all. Thank you. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me comments down below because the algorithm goddess hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess is
That's gonna
Land Fear.
yeah,
Hashtag Team
Land
Land Fear.
Fear. There we go.
Our Wheel of Time episode 5 reaction might be, we don't know when it's going up because we're in LA on Thursday night when it drops.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll do our best. If you want to follow us on the internet, you can. I'm at nerdynightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Much love to our mods for keeping us honest and keeping y'all from spoiling. If you guys want to send love to the mods, join our Discord and go tell them they're amazing because they are. As always, do something nerdy tonight.
Bye, guys.